Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Symphony. I don't think Bucho's in chat to verify that everything is okay, so I'm just going to lean on Chris, which hopefully he's going to say, yep, we're good to go, and I'm just going to keep pushing from here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Symphony. Symphony Entertainment, Gaming, and Arts. Whoop, whoop, sound good, vision good. Symphony Entertainment, Gaming, and Arts is my gaming company that focuses on horror systems, indie games, organic content, and player agency to bring a symphonic approach to horror role-playing. I am your host, Bridgett Jeffries, and tonight I am a mere kindred in Berlin. That is because the absolutely incredible storyteller, Heinrich Moore, please look at his eye makeup right now. His wife put her foot into that, is stopping by the Symphony to run Contagion for Vampire the Masquerade. I will allow Heinrich to tell you all about that, but before we get into the game, two quick announcements. Here we go. One, Symphony Entertainment has a Patreon, so if you like this content and you would like to help us make more of it, please consider backing us on Patreon. Tiers are fleshed out with everything from behind-the-scenes content, postcards, free books, and more. Appropriately tiered backers will also receive access to our post-Symphony Gala Talkback, which is where at the end of the show, the cast and crew gets together, we let our hair down, and we talk about our favorite scenes, interesting things that happen with the mechanics, and basically kind of unpack and engage with the content. Those have been absolutely incredible with massive amounts of value ranging anywhere between safety tools, stream, scene, sharing, pacing, content, ways to tweak the rules. They're really valuable. So if you would like access to those talkbacks or anything else that our Patreon has to offer, check us out on patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. Also, if you're a fan of this shirt, hopefully you can see it. It says that your child calls me sire. You know you want the shirt. One, it's comfortable as all get out. Two, the people who created it over at Queen's Court Games are absolutely spectacular. So if you would like this shirt, I am going to throw the link to this bad boy into the chat right now. Chris, I agree. The cast is super sexy. And if you haven't engaged with their content, they run some really amazing things from Cult, and they actually have an ongoing Vampire the Masquerade game as well with a bomb-ass cast and an amazing storytelling. So, Queen's Court Games, we love you. I love this shirt. I feel super comfortable, and I feel very sexy in it. So, without further ado, let's unveil this cast. Cast members, please introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are, where people can find you, and some of the things that you do. We are going to start with our illustrious storyteller, Heinrich Moore.
Well, thank you, Bridgett, and greetings, Symphony. My name is Heinrich Moore. I am a community content creator on Chaosium's Miskatonic Repository. That is their community content program on Drive-Thru RPG. That's mostly the space I exist in. I'm probably best known for Heinrich's Call of Cthulhu Guide to Character Creation. We are about 50 copies away from being platinum, which is super exciting for me.
Wow.
Going to be the first platinum product for me, so very proud of that. I am also a community organizer. That means that I am a big fan of community content and I want to help you create it. So we are running a thing called Miskatonic Repository Convention in October. More information on that is going to be shared, including a website. Player signups will open in about a month, but game submissions are open now. So definitely hit me up if you ever have any questions about community content creation or how you can get involved. It's a terrific community that I'm just so thrilled to be a part of. And I am here today because I get to do something new. So I grew up playing Vampire the Masquerade, but I have not played in probably about 20 years. So this is a long overdue welcome back to me. Vampire's 5th edition has done it, and I am just so excited to get to dive back in, but I will apologize to those kindred in the audience as we're probably going to be a bit rusty on the rules. So keep that in mind, but we're going to do our best and we're going to tell you a great story.
I'm so excited. It's going to be so good. Sorry, I'm geeking out. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of Heinrich. So next up on our cast introductions, Evan, hit us, baby.
Hi, I am Evan Perlman. I'm sitting alone in a dark office building. I am feeling a generalized sense of anxiety. I'm angry at nothing in particular, feeling sarcastic and ironic. So I am ready for 90s horror. I am ready for this. I needed nothing more in my life than to come on and see Heinrich in beautiful eyeliner. That is fantastic work. Could have gone
Honey.
with a cat eye, but I like your choice. I have written a bunch of stuff on the Miskatonic repository. I have a scenario in print called Dream House. We did a double binding with one of John Hook's scenarios for Call of Cthulhu. I don't have a physical copy because I gave my physical copy to my mom.
Oh,
I
that's
do
fair.
a lot
That's okay.
of
We'll allow it.
I do a lot of community projects. I work with Heinrich as a Shoggoth on the council for the Miskatonic Repository Convention. I've recently done the In Strange Seas project, which is a Royal Navy against the Mythos setting with a bunch of community contributed scenarios, and looking to do more things in the future for Gaslight and for other things as well. So keep an eye out and you'll see them come.
Amazing. Guys, Evan has streamed a couple of things on Symphony. So if you head over to our YouTube, you can see his supplement. What is that? Debutantes and Dagon for Regency Cthulhu, which was...
that was wild.
That was delicious. The ending to that one was... and then one of the games that I was like, not super excited to play, but was willing to do it because it was Evan, and I really love Evan's storytelling, is his In Strange Seas game. That is also on our YouTube, and that's wow. What is that? That is oh god, I'm mind blanking. COVID brain. That is Regency Cthulhu on
Master and Commander versus the Mythos. Is how
yes. And guys, Skip, who's actually in the chat right now, he's one of our benefactors on our backer tiers, played in that game along with Chris Bates, who's also in the chat.
Yeah, that's right.
It is incredible. I cannot recommend that game enough. It is fabulous. All right, I'm going to stop fangirling over Evan. Last but totally not least, let's bring it out and let's give a massive Symphony welcome to Phaedra, who for the first time is joining Symphony streams. Welcome, babe. Hit us.
Hello, I'm Phaedra. This is my first time at a Symphony stream. I'm very excited to be here. This is the limited amount of time I've dedicated Symphony in between an entire weekend of more or less continuous massages, which is my other gig. And it's very fitting, really, that I will be playing an undead vampire because I feel dead. Some of you might know me from Stars Are Right, Call of Cthulhu podcast. I founded, running, keeping, doing all this stuff, really. Check us out at www.starsaregright.com. We do a bunch of stuff, including publishing scenarios at the Miskatonic Repository. Here are two of mine. Gold best only, Electrum, the Castle of Greed. I have currently 2 copies of the Castle of Greed because I'm keeping one to give to my mum.
This is the way. This is the way.
To Greece again. So these 2 lovelies in the repository. Hopefully more to come soon. As part of Stars Are Right, I'm actually editing other people's scenarios at the moment. So the next one I'm working on, called The Exhibition of Dread, is one about art and undead stuff and spooky paranormal activities. So keep an eye out for that. I also appear in other places like Symphony Now and the Miskatonic Playhouse. Check those awesome guys out. And I think I'll stop monologuing now. Thanks for hearing me out, everyone.
Babe, I am so excited that you're here. I am delighted. I am a proud backer over at the Stars Are Right podcast. They're getting ready to run Berlin for Call of Cthulhu, guys. Holy cow, it's about to be so relevant. Good. Oh, it's going to be so amazing. And then, spoiler alert, hopefully the boys over at the Miskatonic Playhouse don't slay me for this one. But I recorded Good Vibes Only with them. It's in editing. It will be released soon. Let me tell you guys, that game is delicious. And my character got owned in the first quarter of the game. You're going to enjoy it. I came onto that game in a whole mood, and the GM was like, cool, here's this, what? And it was downhill from there. It's a great recording. You guys are going to enjoy that. So check that out at Miskatonic Playhouse when it lands. Content warnings have been discussed with the cast and crew. We have reviewed red lines. The X card is in play. X's can be sent via private message. They can be visibly shown on screen where Heinrich can see them. If an X is called, no judgment is passed. No questions are asked. We will also be using the red, yellow, green traffic light method, which is my personal favorite safety tool. Any player can call that at absolutely any time. Just as a weird, I guess, FYI, I am out of my contagious area of COVID, but I'm still suffering from a lot of drainage. So if you're one of those people that's really screamed out by people like spitting in the trash cans or blowing their nose, the best I can tell you right now is I'm sorry, and I will do my best not to actually do it where you're watching. But
can we get you like an Old West spittoon? Just
yes, that's what I need.
When Bridgett heard that the game was called Contagion, she just decided to lock that.
Just getting in character.
It's like, listen, I am in character already. Damn it, you hear it? All right, guys. On to the show. I am going to get the hell out of the way. I'm going to put everything into the hands of our storyteller, Heinrich Moore.
The year is 1998. And Berlin is burning. In a city long divided both among kindred and kine, the year's May 1st protests have escalated into full-scale riots, turning Berlin into a war zone. Now, there are also rumors that something is turning the city's vampire population rabid, causing them to engage in acts of diablerie. Amidst the chaos, one coterie, the Last Hope, made up of vampiric refugees from all walks of life. It's just trying to survive one more night. And as we begin our story, we see the city of Berlin from 10,000 feet up. From this high, it looks like a map. It's very quiet. We hear some wind, perhaps. The camera rudely cuts to a street side view of a rioting mob. We see people with cloth over their faces, thick goggles, hats, hoodies, covering as much of their bodies as possible, and they are riled up and they are marching. We go back skyward, and now we are zooming in upon our map, which turns out to in fact be the city itself. We cut back once again to see what the rioters were looking at, and we see a wall of armored police. They are wearing riot gear. They are protected behind a wall of shields. We cannot see their faces. They are expressionless, without personality. And then they begin themselves to advance, step by step. Zooming back in on the city, we can now make out buildings, and the camera continues to drop from our bird's eye view, switching between the silence above the city and the riotous noise within. We go back to the mob throwing Molotov cocktails, the police responding with tear gas. As our camera drops down into the city itself, going into the very streets that we are cutting to, where we are seeing the riot play out, we now see rioters coughing, tears streaming from eyes as the police charge. Our image goes dark before coming back upon a warehouse. Graffiti scrawls its facade, its windows are broken, doors are off hinges. It looks like the roof has collapsed. This warehouse in the Berlin neighborhood of Friedrichshain is where our coterie has spent the past 2 nights after seeking shelter from the riots going on throughout the city, but in particular, this neighborhood that they have found themselves in. Many streets have been closed off. Movement is being restricted. And our kindred are hunkering down. Upon close inspection, we see each of them standing in what looks like perhaps an unused office space on the second floor of this warehouse. While they look radically different from each other, there's one thing that unites them all. These are not humans. They are predators. They are monsters that feed on blood to sustain themselves. And they are hungry. This is the coterie of the Last Hope, a small band of underlying kindred whose bonds of affection have been reforged recently in response to the May 1st riots. They have lost much over the last few days. Sanctuaries, contacts, even friends, to the extent creatures such as them can have them. The camera pans to each of them in turn, starting with Margarete Schiller. Margarete, tell us what the camera sees, and then please tell us something that the camera cuts away to, reflecting what Margarete may be thinking about having lost over these past few days of rioting.
So Margareta looks like a 35-year-old woman. Of course, that is not her real age, but none of us are quite what we look like. She is quite striking with beautiful dark eyes, red hair, kind of a strong jawline, beautiful, pale, and dead skin. And you can see that while she is present in this warehouse protecting herself, you can see the agitation and the jittering, almost as if within her she feels this drive to be out there instead. She might be smiling at you and nodding at what you're saying, and knowing that the right thing to do is be here. Maybe is it the right thing to do? It's what we're doing anyway. But really, she belongs out there, and she's angry, and she's itching, and you can see her fists clench, and her foot tapping, and her concentration, just her head looking around. But she's there. Part of her is anyway.
Yes, the camera cuts between her eyes darting left and right, to your clenched fist, to your foot tapping. What is Margareta thinking about having lost over these last few days?
Margareta deeply cares about the people out there. She might have lost people she knows, but she has lost people that matter to her, even though she didn't know them. She, as a proud trans woman, she has spent her life as a social worker caring for the youth in the streets, the LGBT youth, and trying to help everyone out. And this riot, even though justified and honestly on the police much more than the people, how dare they deny them their basic rights, this riot is hurting them too, and she's helpless. She can't go out there and help them. She's lost that power, that strength, the ability to help people, and they're out there getting hurt. And that's the thing that hurts the most.
And of course, always the reminder that these people you care about, you are no longer one of. Akif, as the camera pans away from Margareta over to you, what does the camera see? And what is Akif thinking about?
The camera has a hard time keeping Akif in the lens. He's leaning up against one of the broken windows for about half a second, then he's up and walking, pacing back and forth. He settles and paces like a dog who can't get comfortable. He's tall, he's very thin, he kind of stalks around like a scarecrow sometimes, but he just can't get comfortable. And every time he turns, he shoots a look over to Irena to see what she's doing, whether he's looking for comfort, looking for direction. He's constantly in motion, constantly glancing around, and you get the sense over time that he is waiting to be given an order, waiting to be given a direction. He's an arrow pulled all the way back in a bow, almost shaking and ready to be released.
The camera has trouble keeping up with you. It's almost like the camera is chasing you. Ironic, given that you are the predator here. What is Akif thinking about having lost over the last few days?
In the immediate sense, he is thinking about an informant that he used to have. who the last time he checked on him 2 days ago was dead, in a violent manner. And in the broader way, he's thinking that he has lost his entire sense of balance. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know where he fits. He doesn't know whose orders he's following. Should he be giving the orders? How do people function like this?
The camera eventually stops trying to keep up with you. Just shows empty space, an empty part of the office. Then it slowly pans over to the third member of your coterie, Irena Mahler. Irena, what does the camera see, and what's going through her mind right now?
This small office building that we're in, with the broken out windows and the sound of violence and gunshot and screams and wails, the smell of smoke, all of this disaster outside, and all of this nervous, displaced energy and rage on the inside. Irina is calm. She is cold, and she looks unbothered. Now, her coterie members know that that's not necessarily true, but composure is something that she prides herself in. This is one of the most handsome 70-year-old East German women you have ever seen. She's always immaculately manicured, despite all of the debris and the shell casings and the violence and the smokes. Even right now, she looks radiant. She is standing in a suit, a button-down white blouse with the collar open, a black jacket that is well tailored to her shape, and then a skirt with boots. And she is adjusting her glasses for just a moment as she's looking out of the window, and her eyes aren't even scanning all of the hysteria. They seem to be locked in a fixed point. And Akif and Marguerite, they know she's thinking, she's calculating, she's running numbers, she's considering something. And that's what the camera sees, where the camera can't keep up with Akif, or it's shattering or moving around looking at Marguerite. It's a fixed frame looking at Irina. She is focused, she is thinking, and she is present.
Your coterie has been discussing what your next steps might be. You might be able to see out the riots hiding here, it's true. You know that other kindred and kine are trying to flee the city. You know others are simply trying to get to parts of the city that, unlike this working level neighborhood that you find yourselves in, has not been wrapped as tightly in the grip of these riots. But as you are considering your next steps, one of you hears a sound coming from far below. You are on the second floor of this 3-story warehouse. The third floor is collapsed as the roof has caved in. So you have been staying on the second floor. This noise is coming from the far bottom. Let us have a roll simply for the sake of acquainting everyone with the rules of this system. Might I have everyone give me a roll of... Correct me now. Is awareness one of your skills?
You have perception, which is now resolve, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any.
Oh,
I don't see it.
You have alertness, I believe.
Yep, alertness.
We do have alertness.
All right. If you could all roll me wits plus alertness and tell me how many successes you get. Bear in mind that your hunger level starts at 2, reflecting the fact that you have been hunkering down and that the violence throughout the city has made feeding a perilous proposition. So 2 of your dice should be replaced by hunger dice. There's no chance of failure here. We're simply seeing who among you is the first to hear this noise.
I have 1 success.
1 success for Akif.
Irina has 5.
5 successes. Very impressive. Was that a critical success by chance?
No, sir, it wasn't. I need to correct that because 6s are successes. That is 6 successes.
Oh, wow.
She's very present.
And 3 for Margarete.
Okay. So, Irina, possibly because you are already looking out the window and taking in the world around you. Right now, what you see out there, by the way, Irina, is just the city's homeless population. They are crowding both sides of the street over which the warehouse is looking. There are no police in sight, but you do hear sirens in the distance. They don't seem to be getting closer. These are just the sounds, the nightly sounds at this point of the riot continuing to burn itself through. But the sound you hear, and the reason perhaps it's so disturbing, is because it comes from the basement of this building. Building didn't have much of a basement, much of it collapsed. But Irina, with that number of successes, you will recall that when you first scoped out this building as a temporary safe haven, you recall that there was a manhole cover in the basement. It looked like it had not been moved in a long time. And going into the sewers was not necessarily your first preferred course of action. And so you left it. But now you hear a sound that to the others might be indistinguishable, but to you is very clearly the sound of grating metal as something heavy is moved to the side, scraping across the concrete floor of the warehouse's basement.
Before I react, quick question, storyteller. Can we do a quick clan audit check across the board?
You sure can. Irina, would you start us off?
Absolutely. Ventru.
Akif?
Gangrel?
And Margareta.
Ruha.
And each of you is of a fairly, I'm not going to say old, but esteemed generation. So, Irina, I believe you are in fact a 7th generation Ventru.
Yes, sir.
And I believe Margareta is from the 8th generation and of the Bruja, and Akif is of the 9th generation of the Gangrel.
I'm the baby of the bunch.
You are comparatively based by your generation, yes.
So I suck on my teeth as I am continuing to look at the window with this ebb and flow of this homeless population. And without even turning around, I'm going to call both of their names. Akif, Margareta. The manhole cover in the basement has been breached. Someone or something is coming through. And she just immediately turns on her heels and she looks at the two of them.
That's what that was.
That's what that is. Yes.
And I stay very, very still, look at her, say, I should go?
I'm going to throw a look to Margareta because Ventru's natural habitat is leadership. We are the clan of kings after all, but this coterie, our coterie, has a gangrel and a bruja. I know better than to go out front. I may have fortitude, but I know better than to go out front. You should go.
And take off immediately, not sprinting, but walking like very fast towards whatever the door is to the stairs or however we get down there.
Yeah, there's a circular staircase that you can take down, Akif, and from there there's going to be a straight staircase leading into what's left of the basement. Tell me how you are proceeding once you've left the 2nd floor.
It is like a dog that has a scent and you let them off a leash. So there's a lot of enthusiasm, a little bit of kind of cold joy in it. I want to do this thing that the gangrel do where you lengthen your claws.
Mm-hmm.
That is a thing that we can do. I will look it up in a second exactly what I need to do that. That's feral weapons. I would like to do that as I go because it has been too long where I've been having to stand around and wait for something to happen. And I'm going to make something happen, whether it really should or not.
Excellent, Akif. Go ahead and give me a roused check. Now, a roused check is accomplished by rolling a single 10-sided die, and you are hoping to get a 6 or higher on this for a reason I will tell you in a moment.
And that is a 6 on the button.
Excellent. There is no skill roll needed to activate this power. The rouse check is simply to determine whether or not your hunger level goes up. In this case, it does not. You are fine. You remain at hunger level 2. same level of hunger as you were before. And I should have, in fact, and I apologize for this, had you roll. In your case, because it's a level 2 power, the one dice was exactly right. So you are going down. Are you sneaking, or are you being very open about what you're doing?
Very open because I want to move fast, but I don't know what the vampire equivalent of like sniffing ahead and trying to get a sense. Like I'm not taking my time to try to surveil, but if I can get a sense of what's waiting for me when I get down there while I'm hustling, that would be great.
All right. You also have a power called Eyes of the Beast.
I do.
The cost for which is free. No roll is required, not even a rouse roll. So you are able to see with your inhuman eyes very clearly into the dark of the basement, where you see a figure. You would say identifying as female based on the clothes, although they're fairly low quality, not maybe quite on the level of homelessness, but certainly a discount rack at whatever store is most convenient. The clothes have lost much of their color, and the figure is hunched over because they are pulling the manhole cover back into place. They are about 5'7". And they currently have their back turned to you.
Okay. Can I tell at a glance if they are threatening, kindred, kind, anything other than their shape, size?
From your senses, you do get the sensation that you are not dealing with a living human here.
Okay. Then I'm going to give the customary politeness of establishing a boundary. And I will, as I get to, I don't know, the other, like a room away, I assume vampires can cover some distance. I will say, hold still right now.
The figure freezes up. You hear a high-pitched feminine sound gasp in surprise. It's an odd gasp, right? Because you're having to force air out through lungs that no longer work, so that if there were any question as to whether or not you were dealing with a kindred or not, that has been answered. Additionally, the fact that she is actually able to lift the manhole cover shows her as likely being far stronger than anyone her stature has any right to be. But she doesn't use it as a weapon, rather she drops it in place at the gasp that she forcefully emitted, and then does not move other than to say in a soft, low voice, please don't hurt me.
Okay. Who are you?
Can I turn around?
Not yet. Who are you and why are you here?
I am known as Amelia Grigorievna.
Have I heard of her? Does that name mean anything to me?
It does not.
Okay. I don't know you, but that's okay. What are you doing here?
I was to meet my child here.
Why? Why
Wolfgang,
here?
have you seen him?
Who? Sorry, I missed the name.
Wolfgang, have you seen him?
No.
Well, this is where we agreed to meet up. I thought this building was abandoned.
No, you were mistaken. I am a Keef. You can stand up.
She does so.
And you can turn around.
She does so as well. And as she does, you see a face that is inhuman, not just in the way a vampire's face is, but this is not the doll of the face of a person. It's the face of a doll. She has doll-like features, cracks running through her face, but then her face, the mask, moves, and you realize that it's no mask. That is simply what she looks like, and you recognize her as a member of the Nosferatu clan.
And the threat detection sensors go down by like 3%.
Okay.
Because historically, Akif has had a little bit of affinity for the Nosferatu, just to be wildly stereotypical. Often sharing the vampiric equivalent of drinks over, the shared sense of possible isolation and the need for staying together. All of that is enough to get him to put away the claws, I assume, is something that can happen.
Yep.
And he says, okay, we're going to stay down here a moment, but I don't see why you can't be here for right now.
She seems relieved as much as her doll-like face can be.
Mm.
Tell me where you are coming from, please.
The sewers.
Hmm.
I've been hiding there, and Wolfgang was going to go scout and see what's going on in the city and if there are any places that could be safe, not just for tonight.
So you were planning to stay in Berlin?
She smiles at that, a sad, wistful smile, and something about that smile resonates with you as she says, "It is my home."
Hmm. I understand. Would you be offended if I left you here for a moment? And do you agree to stay here until I return for you?
I will respect your haven, however temporary it might be, and honor the tradition of hospitality.
Thank you. Please make yourself comfortable. I wish I had more to offer you.
She doesn't collapse, but she slowly sinks to the ground, sitting on the closed manhole cover.
And as he turns his back to go back upstairs, he pauses a half a second to see if there's any sound of a, scuffling attack or anything like that.
You don't hear anything dangerous like that. You do hear her moving, though. And when you just glance behind, she's still sitting where she was, but her face, there's not much to say for her eyes. They are glassy and don't seem to move clearly. But her face is moving back and forth, not like she's shaking her head or nodding, but rather almost cat-like, like she's getting distracted by things that only she can see.
Mm.
Hmm. Okay. This is interesting, but I think it's fair to go grab the rest of the group
Okay.
so that we can handle this as a group.
Yeah, you join your coterie.
So I rejoin. I give the rundown of this Nosferatu name. I missed it.
Amelia.
Amelia. And that she's expecting to meet with her child.
This is a good opportunity to introduce a house rule that I utilize, which is that all information that you encounter is shared among the rest of the coterie at the earliest possible opportunity. You can always specify that you will not disclose certain information, but for the sake of the game and to keep the story flowing smoothly, we will just assume that you share the information.
Amelia the Nosferatu. I don't know this one. Margareta, do you?
Do we?
Do you have anything on your character sheet by way of contacts or anything that might suggest that you would have knowledge of these individuals or her specifically?
I only have one point in contacts, and I'm not sure what it's related to.
Yeah,
so I am going to guess no. I'm not aware of an Amelia, but it makes sense that others like us would be trying to find haven in these times. We must not assume they're enemies.
I wish to speak with her.
Where do you wish to speak, interrogate, or otherwise converse with the Nosferatu? On the second floor, the first floor, which is littered with abandoned equipment, broken equipment from whatever industry this warehouse serviced, or in the basement where she is?
we probably can't see as well in the basement, not having beastie eyes or whatever it's called. So maybe, Keith, maybe you could bring her up here.
Of course. And I will trot back down.
Keith,
a little bit.
Before you go,
an
inquiry. Is she starving?
Oh,
does she appear to be starving?
Can you tell that about? She seems distracted.
And we can handle ourselves. We are 3. She's 1.
1 and possibly 2 shortly.
The other one's not here.
Irena nods, and she waits.
Keith, you escort Amelia up to the 2nd floor where you've been making your temporary abode. She takes you all in turn, nods politely, seems nervous, but perhaps not unusually so, given that she is in the company of 3 not of her clan, and everyone feeling on edge these days.
And as we walk in, I'll introduce her. I'll say, "This is Amelia, mm-hmm. of the Nosferatu, and this is Irena. This is Margareta, and they are trusted friends."
Thank you for allowing me into your haven. I am here looking for my child, Wolfgang. He is coming back with information of the city. We are trying to find a place of safety.
When did you last hear from your child?
It would have been 2 nights ago.
When were you scheduled to meet your child?
Tonight. I'm hoping that he will come soon.
What information was he scouting for in particular?
The state of the neighborhoods, and whether or not there were any of our own kind who might provide us shelter. She, when she says that, she coughs. Again, forcefully moving air, and you see that there's a bit of blood on her sleeve that she holds up.
I have an ongoing volley of these questions, but Bridgett now has to ask, what are the symptoms of whatever this thing is that's happening within Kindred Society right now?
Do we know?
Great question.
You've not necessarily seen any cases. You've only heard secondhand reporting of kindred who are no longer able to process and gain sustenance from the blood of kine, despite always having done so, and turning violent as the beast takes control.
Out of character, we messed up and we're all going to die. In character, Margareta has been taking this time to kind of study Amelia and her intentions. She's quite good at telling if someone is a victim that needs help or if someone has ulterior motives. I'm not sure exactly what skill it is, but Margareta has really good empathy.
No, given your background and your skills, there's no role needed. This would be an automatic success for you. Margareta, it's not terribly clear to you how long Amelia has been in this life, or how much more she will be in it, because she seems, frankly, lost. A predator in kind, but not in spirit, and seems very susceptible to the input of others. She is deferential in a way that is most unusual among your kind.
Margareta has a question that is not relevant to anything besides her own curiosity, which is, the prince let you have a child, which is probably quite a rude thing to ask.
Because why would you assume otherwise? She will say, well, Prince Wilhelm, yes, gave me permission through my clan. You notice that she says Prince Wilhelm, and it reminds you that amidst the riots going on, this is a divided city, not just among the kind, but among the kindred as well. Since the city's division between West Germany and East Germany, there have been two princes. The Iron Prince of the East, Gustav Breidenstein, and the Prince of the West, Wilhelm Waldburg.
You're from the West.
Correct. Situation made all the more awkward by the fact that Wilhelm is Gustav's child.
Mm-hmm.
You know that both sides have been using these riots as an opportunity to escalate matters between them. The city, although unified now for several years, remains divided in many of the more practical ways, and kindred society does not evolve quickly, and so those rivalries still exist. So it is relevant that Amelia specifies that she got permission from Prince Wilhelm, the Western prince.
We are not prejudiced here, and Margareta recognizes that just because they're from the West doesn't mean they necessarily wish us harm, but she does take a step backwards instinctively upon finding out that she's from the West.
And Keith now is standing very still, a little bit in front of Irena, like in front and to the side, and says, "Tell me, are you ill?"
As you ask that, Irena, you have your list of questions. This is not the first time you've asked this perhaps series of questions, so no thought is required. And you are happy to perhaps let the other members of your coterie sate their curiosity. It does allow you, as you're standing by the window, to keep your senses open to other things. And that background sound of sirens that wasn't coming closer is now indeed coming closer.
She just articulates that super coldly. The sirens are incoming. They're approaching.
What should we do? Amelia asks, ignoring your question for now, O'Keefe.
Bridgett is going back in time. What was O'Keefe's question?
Is she ill?
We're going to go recycle right back to that one. What we're going to do is await your response to O'Keefe's question. Are you ill?
Oh, it's I don't think it's anything. I've just not felt quite right.
I'm going to throw a glance to Margareta and O'Keefe. It's one of those things, if we had our own language, we would probably be speaking it right now. But being that I'm assuming that we don't, the nonverbals is the best that she has to do. Absolutely. Temperature checks, awareness checks, how are we doing checks with her coterie members.
O'Keefe looks really conflicted for a moment, kind of scrunches up his face and then goes, very, very subtle.
At this moment, a number of police vans appear at the end of the street outside. Their sirens turn off, and you see a number of police officers wearing riot gear come out. They are not forming a line. There's no riot going on this street, but rather you see the police officers, about 24 of them, they have come in force, spread out, and they are going up to individuals of the homeless population that are lying on both sides of the street, and they seem to be prompting them for identification, They seem to be asking them questions. And if you watch for any amount of time, there will be at least one person that the police will actually pick up and take back to the van.
Are they're sort of focused on the street. They're not particularly interested in our building at the moment.
The first wave is not. The second wave of officers is knocking on doors, such as there are. Yours is not the only abandoned building here. And you do see the masked officers armed with submachine guns going into buildings. And they seem to be doing so in a manner that suggests not that they are expecting immediate trouble, but they are certainly putting their training to use. And so covering doors and corners, not taking for granted that there are no threats here.
Bastards. Don't they have a job to do? Anything else?
Amelia is going to move to the window. Because of how still everyone has been, it may seem a little sudden. It's not that she's moving preternaturally fast, but the sound of what's going on outside has drawn her attention, and she wants to look out the window.
Is she moving closer to us or Irena or anyone?
Yes, she would be moving through you.
Okay, so if it's okay, I don't want to retroactively undo that, but as she starts to do that, Akif's head snaps up, and he sees her coming towards them, and he goes,
But Wolfgang, she gestures feebly towards the window.
We'll figure that out. You need to stay over there for the moment, please.
Margareta?
Should we, if they're coming in, should we go down? I know we didn't want to. I know it was a last resort, but maybe we have to go down to the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
The sewers, Amelia, seems to awaken out of the dismay that she's had of sort of being put in her place. I can help with the sewers. I know the sewers. I have a map and a flashlight.
And yet you instructed your child to meet you here in an abandoned building and not in some crevice or corner of the sewer.
The sewers are not as safe as they once were. There are things down there. It's best not to linger for too long.
Things or infected kindred?
I haven't seen them. She shakes her head, looks away from you. It's obvious that she's not telling the entire truth, but at the same time, it doesn't seem as though she's hiding anything substantive. You figure probably she has seen something, but maybe at a distance, and she's trying not to think about it.
Whatever it is it worse than the cops surrounding us right now?
She's about to answer when you hear a voice from outside, clearly the voice of one of the armored police officers. Yeah, halt! As you hear the sound of running footsteps.
We go, right?
You go down or you look out the window? Because you're on the second floor right now, so you could go down to the base level and sort of look out the windows and the doors there to see what's going on if you want to be closer to whatever action is happening. Or if you are just wanting to get a lay of the land, you can remain on the second floor and look out the window.
I think...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, then I was just going to say that Margareta has already suggested the sewers, and she's waiting to see how the other two are responding to that.
Rania is going to acknowledge Margareta's suggestion and then just lean her shoulder and then just get a quick recon on what was that just happened. Let's see what I can see from the window.
As you look out, you see one of the members of the homeless population. Panley has stood up, and as you watch, it looks like a man, scruffy beard from this distance, really blended in with the rest of the population, lifts one of the armored police officers up, throws him 15 feet across the road, slamming him into a wall, and you all hear the sound of breaking and pulverizing bone, as well as rock breaking.
Well, that's a masquerade breach.
Like, oh wow, somebody's having a good time.
Let's see. 15 minutes. First masquerade breach. Check.
Good game, guys.
Good game. Yeah.
But it is also a distraction. Akif has a slight inkling based on his finely tuned sense of everything will always go to shit in the worst possible way. He does not want Amelia to see who that was or what has happened if he can prevent it. So he interposes. This is, with some effort, he tries to establish a little bit of charge here, and interposes between Amelia and the window and says, yes, that's a distraction. Very good. Down, please. And tries to hustle everybody down towards the sewer in the basement.
Okay, you can hustle at least Amelia down.
Okay.
We'll see if Margareta and Irene decide to follow.
Yeah.
As Akif hustles Amelia by, I'm going to look back at Margareta. She already made the suggestion, and she can tell that Irene isn't happy with it, but she's not a tyrant. This is a team. We searched for a very long time to find this place.
It's being taken away from us as we speak. That kindred outside. Maybe that's Wolfgang.
Is it being taken away from us?
They're going to attract attention. They're bound to come here next. What are we going to do? Stay put?
And as you say that, Margareta, you hear the sound of several submachine guns opening up outside.
You know I'm right.
She's stubborn, and you know she is, and you know she's going to kowtow to this eventually, but she always has to get that one last let's talk about it moment in. The politician, the diplomat that she is. Is this being taken away from us, or are we surrendering it? We're not even making an effort.
We're never surrendering. We were going to leave anyway. Come. And she starts walking and following the others, not wanting to leave them alone for too long.
Margareta, as you finish saying that, turn away and begin to walk. Irene, you clearly hear the sound of 2 bullet shots, presumably finishing whatever the submachine guns that have now fallen silent started.
I suck very sharply, audibly, at my teeth. The whole room can hear it. I'm going to pull my glasses off. I'm going to pull out a handkerchief, and she's just going to start cleaning the lenses as she follows behind Margareta. Because Margareta knew that I was going to do it anyways, but here we are with consistency.
When you make it down into the basement, you can see Akif and Amelia are already there. Amelia, or Akif, has moved the manhole cover, and you can see the rusted ladder going down. And Amelia is looking to you as though for instructions as to what to do next.
The flashlight. Hand it to us, please.
She searches through and then produces a small flashlight, but one that has a very strong charge, so that it clearly illuminates a wide circle wherever it's pointed to.
I give it to Irene because she's the least likely of us to punch something.
She accepts it.
And then in classic Dungeons and Dragons style, tell me about what your coterie and Amelia looked like in terms of how you will make your way through the sewers. And as you consider, bear in mind that these sewers connect to a 19th century warehouse, right? That's where you were holed up, and the sewers are reflective of that age. So unlike American sewer systems, here there's going to be a lot more collapsed walls. The architecture is going to be much older. What is anyway a warren and maze at the best of times when it comes to sewer systems is even more heightened here. And the Dungeons and Dragons analogy may not be the worst because, again, this feels less like what you and I might think of as a sewer and more like a true dungeon.
Yeah. So Akif is weirdly more comfortable here. He has this moment of, He's been there before. When he was alive and a police detective, he worked a case and the body was found in the sewers. So he's been in this general environment. And two, there's just something comforting about being in a dark hole where there are limited ways that things can get to you that you can't see coming. So he sort of is less restless here, still looking to the others, for what they want to do. Still monitoring Amelia to make sure she's not coughing on anybody. But he's looks a little more relaxed, a little more happy.
Is he leading the way then?
He would like Amelia to lead the way if she is comfortable doing so.
Good. And then who is following Amelia?
I guess Akif can go behind her.
Okay.
I'd put Irene in front of me, I think.
Put the squishy in the middle.
With a flashlight as well. So
with the flashlight as well.
Yeah, get the fireball ready. Yeah.
Very good. You make your way through the sewer tunnels underneath Friedrichshain. They are a labyrinthine, claustrophobic network of unlit circular shafts about 6 feet high, originally built in the 19th century, sporadically repaired and expanded upon over the following decades. The sections underneath the rail yards here are in considerable states of disrepair, with whole sections having collapsed. At times, you have to remove rubble, but Amelia seems to know roughly where she is guiding you. She tries to make small talk as you move. We'll get to that in a second, but briefly, she is explaining that with any luck, we can get out of this neighborhood this way, and then the worst will be behind us.
And Akif thinks but does not say the worst is already behind you. Because that's not a helpful thing to say, but it is fun to think.
She will make small talk, or she will attempt to make small talk, and it's painful. These are questions on the level of like, so what's your clan like? And
oh God,
questions that seem completely out of touch with kindred society. And she will intersperse that by asking, do you think Wolfgang will be okay?
Margareta will attempt to have this discussion, knowing definitely that no one else wants to have it. But also, she's going to use it as an opportunity to hopefully learn something useful. For example, she's going to say, oh, yeah, Wolfgang, tell us about him. What's he like? What does he do? How long ago did you sire him?
Yeah, you have to feel for what this kindred child must have gone through, because if his sire is this level of sort of, clueless, frankly, you're not sure how much of an education he might have had, which may also, of course, explain the results that we just witnessed outside.
Yeah.
She tells you bits and pieces about him. It turns out that there was some level of affection between them when he was still still mortal, perhaps infatuated by her features, which, while ghastly, are alluring to a certain type of person, you suppose. But that may be disrupted by Akif. Akif, go ahead and give me a... I would accept here wits and alertness.
Right, that is 2 successes with a 10.
Oh, wow.
So do I re-roll the 10?
Do you have a single 10, or do you have a pair of 10s?
I have 1 10.
Okay, if you only have 1 10, that just counts as a success.
Okay.
Same as any other die. But good to watch out for it, because if you have a pair of 10s, or more, but we'll start off with a pair, that actually counts as double. So rather than each of them just being one success for a total of 2 successes, right, on 10-sided two 10-sided dice, it would be doubled to 4. So had you rolled another 10, you would be looking at a lot more successes.
Okay.
But
Can I ask a rule question? If you roll the 10 on your red die, is that a different thing that we need to remember?
So it can still count for a critical. Do tell me if you happen to succeed with a 10 on your hunger die, because that's what we tend to call a messy success or a messy critical, suggesting that you succeed, but do so in a way that underlines your vampiric nature and may cause some additional complications for you.
Okay.
All right. Keith, you are leading the way. There was a vampiric power you possess that we haven't talked about yet, and that is your ability to have bonded with a particular animal. Could be something small, could be larger. This is essentially the equivalent of a blood bond that allows for very limited communication, and essentially is a kind of familiar. Do you possess such a creature?
I do. I hate this. I do. It is a rat.
It's a rat!
It's a rat!
Yes! I love it.
It was very hard to bond with it because, I'm so sorry, this rat was deeply freaked out for a very long time because Akif is tall and he is... the vampiric equivalent of smells like a dog to a rat, And so this poor rat was in like a constant state of, I'm about to be eaten. I'm about to be eaten. I'm about to be eaten. This is going to be terrible. We got there. We got there eventually. And he's been useful for getting into places. And he's been unobtrusive. And it's kind of a weird relationship, but we're working on it.
Do you have this animal scouting for you, or do you sort of have it on your person?
At the moment, he is kind of vibrating in a pocket.
Okay.
Because I'm sorry, guys, he's just not super happy still with the arrangement. We're okay. We're getting there. But it's, this is the meanest I've ever been to any animal in my life. I feel so bad. But I'm going to take him out. And I'm going to ask him to poke around carefully. I don't want him to get hurt, to poke around ahead of us and see if there's anything that he is more scared of than he is scared of me.
Okay. Go ahead and please roll me your charisma plus animal ken.
Okay.
And please tell us the rat's name.
I was going to say, Chad needs to know
everyone.
Oh, God. I have to think about it. I need a cute German name, and I can't think of one.
German.
Yeah. I don't know. Heinrich, what's a really adorable, horrible name to give to a rat that doesn't really like you?
That needs to be a line on the quote board.
Well, while I think about that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm rolling charisma and animal ken.
While you roll your charisma and animal ken.
And I have 2 successes because we have got a good relationship based on fear and mutual mistrust. It's great.
My new favorite NPC is this rat.
This rat is going to become the main character. Like I'm speed running Akif to being killed so I can take over as this rat.
Amazing.
So I'm just seeing. I'm going to throw out a few names to you. I'm not saying that these are good or not. But names like Kafka, Goethe, Freud. If you want something classical. Or maybe Faust or Siegfried. Blitz means lightning in German.
Did you say Fausta?
Faust, yeah.
Faust, that would be amazing because this rat has made a deal with an inscrutable, more powerful creature.
That's excellent.
This is good.
That can only result in his doom. It's perfect.
That's flawless.
It's not cute, but maybe Fausty.
Yeah.
Mr.
Faust.
Yeah. And it's like I take him out and I kind of try to give him a cheerful look, which with like the fuzz face and the general animal features kind of comes off as and I'm like not oblivious, but I'm trying to power through it, and I'm petting him, and he's like but eventually we get there, we communicate the desire.
Amelia is equally enchanted, and you are easily the person she feels the most comfortable with in this
I'm so sorry. It's such a mistake.
Faust goes off, does some scouting. You have only very, it's not like you see through Faust's eyes. You don't have that ability at that level, but you are able to sort of get an emotional sense of what Faust is experiencing, which is why you perhaps momentarily stop when there is a moment of panic on Faust's side. All of you hear a squeak, the squeak of a rat, followed by the sound of fangs entering and tearing at the flesh of a creature. And the sensation you had coming from Faust is gone.
Oh. I'm going to forget my own pandemic hygiene and reach out and put a hand on Amelia's back. And with my other hand, I'm going to go like this. And now I'm just kind of like stuck. Don't know what to do. I just don't want to go further that way.
Okay. You hear the sound of flesh tearing. A messy meal is being had.
Well, you're really digging into that, huh? Okay. He had a name, Heinrich.
Welcome to Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah. And I don't know if it needs to be said, but I will say there's something up there if that needs to be said out loud.
Would you be in danger of entering into any frenzied state because of this experience? Or was your relationship with Faust just not that deep?
I don't think he has deep like emotional attachment to Faust, truthfully. I think he kind of knew that they were not a good pair. But he's been under a lot of stress. He has been constantly like, what is the thing that is going to kill me? Where is that coming from? And now it is like right around the proverbial bend. So that could set something off, he says, because he knows what the storyteller wants.
Oh,
that could set something off.
Oh yeah.
I'm just giving you the opportunity.
Yeah. Would you hand me that rope, Heinrich? I need it.
That's right. What is your humanity?
It is 4 dots.
Not very high.
No. Gangrel, baby.
So the good news is we are at the beginning of the session, so you still have all of your willpower. So you can go ahead and roll your, I think it would be 10 dice of willpower, because you've not.
Okay, that's right. So I'm going to add some here.
Yep. And you're going to get to add 1/3 of your humanity, which we're going to round down to 1. So you get to roll 11 dice.
11 dice. Okay.
And tell me how many successes you get.
All right. We need a calculator and a spreadsheet. Hang on.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Do ones count if they're not on the hunger dice? Like, do they matter?
They do not matter. They're just failures.
Then I have 4 successes.
Then you have 4 successes. You successfully resist taking any action that you don't intend to take at this point. You feel the beast inside you awaken. This was a rude shock to your system, and whether it's the loss of this creature that you invested some time in, or the fact that ahead of you are hearing these fairly disgusting, messy sounds, it required a moment for you to focus yourself.
Yeah. And he has a habit from when he was a cop and when he needed to not lose his shit at a crime scene, and he's maintained it as a kindred. And he goes, sorry, right in the mic, but yeah,
it was good.
And takes a superfluous breath It during that breath, the feeling of needing to lash out and hurt something and destroy something has lessened.
Margareta, you are bringing up the rear of this group, yes?
Indeed.
You may go ahead and give me a wits plus alertness roll.
Wits plus alertness. And yep. Let's see. That's a 9. That's a 9. That's
all on my side, since
no, don't roll on your side. You don't need to
not
roll.
Necessary. That's cool.
That's 4 successes here.
Okay, no problem for you to sense the presences that are coming up behind you. There are many side tunnels here. Right now, you find yourself on a straight tunnel. So there's just forwards and backwards, but not very far back. There would be additional corridors, and probably, if you kept going, maybe around the corner, there would be more options. But right now, you find yourself sort of in this limited space. And so, Margareta, you sense at least 3 forms that are moving through a little bit of water that's running along the ground here of these sewers. They looking back. Do you have any type of ability to see in the dark, or do we just have I think who has the flashlight?
Irania does in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in front of me.
So, Margareta, you have a sensation that there are 3 of these things based on the sound of their footfalls, but it's clear that they are trying to move quietly as they close in on you. You don't hear any breathing coming from them, and their sound is muffled somewhat by the amount of sound that is coming from up ahead.
And there are no side tunnels we can dunk into anywhere near before we hit what's up ahead.
You would, you don't know exactly how far up ahead whatever's making the sounds is, so it's possible that if you went forwards, you might find a side tunnel, but looking back, no, at this point, the figures are too far along, so you could go forwards and look for a side tunnel, or you could hold your position.
Okay, so Margareta will lean forward and whisper to Irene, "We're being followed. 3 kindred behind us. And there's something ahead. Can anyone see any side tunnels? Anywhere we can hide?"
Irania is going to turn forward, and this is something that she would know just from being in this coterie. Evan,
Yes.
Does Akif have an aversion to being touched? Is he one of those people that doesn't like the comforting touch on his hand or his shoulder?
No, with the coterie, it's okay.
Okay.
With strangers, it's very not okay. But.
Okay. So she is going to, the second she hears the crunching sounds of Faust, she's just going to put a hand on his shoulder as a point of both comfort and also stability. But if she feels his muscles tensing, she can feel that electric charge coming off of him, like he might frenzy. She's definitely going to pull her hand back. This is a struggle tonight already, guys. But once it looks like he's calm, she is going to tap on his shoulders 3 times and point behind her. Again, they're nonverbal communications, especially with them being this ostracized type of coterie. They survive how they can. And she's going to ask Amelia, are there any side tunnels immediately approaching?
Yeah. She seems to have been in a bit of a stupor with all of this going on, and stammers. Yes, we're almost there. In fact,
We should move quietly.
And Keith's going to let them go ahead of him and drop back behind Margareta.
Okay.
There's 3 of them, Akif. Don't be a hero.
And he's peering, just trying to see if he can see anything back there.
Yeah, so Akif, you can. If we were playing Call of Cthulhu, this is where we
Yes.
would be doing a sanity check. But fortunately, you are a predator, just
Well,
like the predators that are coming up behind you. But these are they were Nosferatu. That much you're fairly confident of. But even Nosferatu, still have sort of a semblance of not humanity as such, just a deformation. These creatures, however, seem completely rabid.
mm,
The ways they are moving is not like the intelligent predators that you are, but rather slavering beasts. They are hunched over. They are moving along the ground, and as you watch, a couple of them are going to move up the sides of the wall, and one will be on the ceiling, one will be on the side of the wall, and they will be crawling, but very quickly towards you, seemingly realizing as you are looking that it's not just like you're looking at darkness. They know that they are seen.
mm.
And three hisses come your way. And it's the hiss of that you would perhaps have from a corpse, right, as they were deflating, and that's what's coming
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
way through them
Yeah.
mouths. But they are completely deformed, not in a way that reflects the Nosferatu curse, but rather the ravages of something else. Their clothes being filthy rags, they are covered with blood and dirt, and blood is running from their eyes, their ears, their mouths. As you see the one that crawls onto the ceiling of the sewer, you can actually see blood dripping down just from their eyes as they are
Ugh.
upside down.
So Keith has a kind of a minor blue screen of death here, because he wants to protect his friends. He wants to be the hero that he used to be thinking of himself as when he was a cop. He wants to survive. He wants to get the hell away from this thing that is the wrongest thing that he has ever encountered.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't last hours. It's not a Call of Cthulhu bout of madness. It is about a second and a half where he just kind of goes, and then says, and then gets it together and decides this way is the way and says, "Run, friends!" and is running and looking.
Okay. So you are urging everyone forwards, and you are now racing.
But it was like a little late.
So we're going to have Margareta and Irene up near the front with Amelia, who is leading the way. And you go forward maybe 10, 20 more meters. And Irene, you have the flashlight. And so you see up ahead of you another fourth figure, same kind as the ones that are behind you, but now its hands covered in fresh gore from where it had devoured Faust. The figure is not by itself. There's two more also on the ceiling by it. And as you flash your light at them, they emit that same kind of hiss that you just heard. This one kind of wet because there's splotches of blood that also get released. There is a side tunnel that Amelia goes down.
Okay, so she ducks off to the side tunnel.
Exactly. It's like, fuck this, 90-degree turn, and away.
If Amelia dips down this tunnel, Irania is going to step just in front of the tunnel, like on the other side of it, where she's in between the three new creatures. What's left of Faust, Arena, and then the entry to the tunnel. And just because this is a lot different than the version in like 5th ed, I am going to attempt this daunt ability.
Ooh.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah, so she's going to like adjust the cravat that she's wearing. She's going to button up the first two buttons on her jacket as if she's getting ready to rise and politely leave a social occasion. And she's going to drop her jaw. She is going to hiss, and she is going to bring with her every single moment of rage, frustration, intimidation, and fear that she can possibly muster.
All right, let's go into sort of round mode where we're going to go around the table and find out what everyone is doing. I know what Irina is doing, and it is badass. Akif, you are running, but are you running in the way of like making sure that you remain between yourself and those creatures coming up behind you, or are you just trying to follow Emilia as fast as possible, or doing something else?
He has at the moment decided that survival is the thing, so he has taken off after Emilia.
Okay, very good. Margareta, Akif is going to go past you if you dawdle, and you see Irina ahead of you is tapping into her blood. What are you doing?
Actually, I was literally beforehand planning on doing the same thing.
Fuck it, let's do it both
because
ways.
I also have Dawn, so I'm wondering whether it might intensify if we kind of both push them backwards by being super scary.
It's super sexy to think that we coordinate this before. Like, we just know we can do this simultaneously if we ever get like encapsulated or ambushed or surrounded. That could be sexy.
Thing.
It's a thing.
We're doing a spooky hiss.
So Margareta, you're
it's ladies' night.
Hey, some of these creatures that are following you were ladies as well. They can join in.
They sure can.
Margareta, so you are going to daunt the creatures coming up behind you, and Irina is going to daunt the creatures up ahead of you.
Yep.
Excellent. Irina, Margareta, let's talk about Daunt, a level 1 presence power, giving you the ability to repel creatures. Doesn't cost you anything, no rouse roll required. You are going to be using your you're going to be using your presence and intimidation.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead and roll that and tell me how many successes you get, and I'm going to roll their own resolve and composure, because that's what they need to try and overcome, and it's going to be based on however many successes you have.
Okay. I am having a very nope, I found it. Whew, I was having a real struggle of a moment, guys. Sorry. Oh, Heinrich, you're gonna have fun with this.
2 successes here. One is a 10, but it's not very interesting. It's only one, and it's in a normal die.
All right.
4 successes. I also have a 10, but no other 10 to complement it. It's just on the regular skill.
Nothing exciting there. Good. So
good. Good.
Keeps things simple for me. Irina, the creatures ahead of you, those 3, they move forward a meter or 2, but the fact that you are not taking any steps back, it's almost like a wild creature charging you, right? If you make yourself big and if you hold your ground, it just might abort that charge. And while they are not immediately running away, you can tell that they are incredibly hesitant to move forwards. It's the kind of thing where it's sort of like an animal with water. They take a tentative step forward and they just don't want to. They really are just watching you intently. But you have inspired something within them, some sort of primal fear. Margareta, one of the creatures, when you hiss, runs away.
Oh, nice.
The other 2 hiss back and charge you. Akif,
okay.
You have followed Emilia. You are in a dead-end corridor. There is a ladder that goes up to another manhole cover. Amelia, you see, is sort of like right ahead. She's ahead of you. She's not right ahead. She's got a little bit of distance because she was up ahead and you were exchanging looks with those creatures. And but you see she's about to climb the ladder. She looks at you, and her face strikes you as different from what you saw before.
Boy.
And you see a tear of blood come out of each of her eyes, and she pulls the ladder, the rusted ladder which was attached to the wall, off it. Masonry, old mortar falls like dust around her, and she swings the ladder downwards like a club in your direction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going to take a short break
Mm-hmm.
before we resume with what happens.
Hate you so much.
We're just gonna die here. That was a short episode. New characters next week, everyone.
Golly. Storyteller, call your break time. We doing 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
Let's go do a 5-minute break here.
Okay, 5-minute breaks. Viewers, chat, you guys have been amazing. We will see you guys in 5 minutes. Check you out noon.
The camera returns from a dark screen showing two of these crawling former kindred charging towards Margareta, standing in the middle, almost back to back with Irena. The camera cuts to Irena and her intense stare, and we see over her shoulder, right, these two creatures rushing towards Margareta, since they are almost shoulder to shoulder. We then cut to where Amelia, her doll features as they were, but now even more bloody because of the blood coming from her eyes, swings down the rusted ladder, the means of escape that you were looking for moments ago. And Akif, as she does so, she says, "I hated you the most."
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's great. I'm going to do the thing that I hate most doing in combat is I'm going to try to dodge. I hate
You're
it.
going to try and dodge.
Never dodge.
Absolutely. So you're going to be dodging. That's a good response. And Irena, what are you going to be doing? You've triggered your power. You don't sort of need to do it every round or anything, so you are free to act again.
So from what I can tell right now, I have my 3 temporarily held back. However, on Margareta's side, She has successfully forced one to flee, but two are getting ready to attack.
Exactly.
I am going to have to do what my character absolutely hates doing, and that's going to be engaging in melee.
All right.
Tell me about it. Getting her hands dirty.
What's your approach to melee? How's this looking?
So I think the best that I can absolutely do, because I'm looking at my powers right now, and unless you're seeing something that I'm seeing, I'm not seeing anything super sexy to help me in this particular situation. So you know what she's going to do is try to pin one of these damn creatures to the wall. I could tear at it, I could beat at it, I could claw at it, I could bite at it, I could do a lot of things to it. But you know what? It might take me longer to kill it than the damn Bruja. But if I can stop it from attacking the Bruja, she'll eventually get to us. So I want to take one of these opponents off the board by pinning it down.
So it is absolutely right that you do not have sort of any specific vampiric powers that are going to be super helpful here. However, there is something that you can do by virtue of being a vampire and a fairly low generation vampire. By that, you can rouse your blood to enhance your physical attributes.
Oh!
So if you wish, you may make a rouse roll, and regardless of the result, you would get to add, I'm going to say, based on this chart I'm looking at, 3 dice in addition to, whatever other dice pool you would roll.
I will rouse the blood in my veins, activating it as it just kind of like lightning, like a Christmas tree turning on, just filters through me. I will take my 3 additional points on physical. But now I'm going to have to start having real conversations about if I'm safe to be a member of this coterie. Her hunger goes up by 1.
Ooh, all right. Margareta, you've heard what Irena is going to do. How are you going to respond to these 2 things charging you?
Margareta is angry. We've been through a lot, and I don't know what they want, but I think at this point it's not time for talking anymore. It's time for punching. Thankfully, she's quite good at punching. She feels comfortable. She has a lot of pent-up rage. It's probably going to be a good outlet for her. They look scary, but they might be frail. There's only one way to find out. I have a question in terms of rules. If I use my prowess, that's rousing the blood.
Mm-hmm.
Can I rouse the blood twice, or can I only do it once per round?
That's a fine question.
Thank you.
I'm
very proud of it.
You should be, yes. I will say that with prowess, you can only do it once. You can only add your potence rating.
Can I both prowess and what's it called? Blood surge in the same turn?
Yes.
Separately?
Yes.
Okay, time to get very hungry.
Yeah, and listen, if you want to try to do stuff that may increase your hunger level, I'm down for that.
Of course you are.
That's what we call drama.
That's what we call drama!
Is it my generation divided by 3?
So for your
blood surge,
we've got 2 rouse checks to do, right? Yeah. So let's do the prowess one first.
Okay.
Because it is a 2nd level potence power, you, given your generation, will only get to roll 1. Let me double check. Yeah, you will only get to roll 1 dice for your rouse check. So go ahead and roll a single die for prowess, and let's see what you get.
Roll the 6.
So you're fine on that. So let's remember that for when you do damage this round. So we'll circle back to that. But now let's go ahead and do your blood surge. So give me another rouse roll.
Oh no, I dropped it on the ground. What does that mean?
It was a 10. It was a 10. I know it. For Faust.
I missed the dice tray. There it is. Oh no, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so your hunger goes up by 1. So you're at hunger 3, which also means anytime we're doing these pools right now, 3 of them are going to be hunger dice.
Where are all the rats to feed from?
We had one, and someone was careless with it.
But if that had been a specific question, there would have been a definite absence of creatures. So your generation is not quite as low as that of Irena. So for your blood surge, you will be adding 2 dice to your skill rolls as opposed to 3. Okay, let's stick with you because we are focused on your character, Margareta. So you're going to be punching. They are going to be responding by doing the same. So one is going to go after you, one is going to go after Irena. So what I would like you to do is to go ahead and give me a strength plus brawl roll, and you will get an additional 2 dice to that by virtue of having blood surged.
And my prowess,
Your prowess is
reduces the armor by 2? No, by 1?
Yeah, it is going to increase the amount of damage that you do if you're able to injure it, which I mean, you're putting yourself in a good position to do so.
So that's 3 plus 2, 5. Okay, what do we have?
Strength plus brawl plus another 2 dice because you roused the blood.
That's 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. You are tied with this creature.
Oh, man.
You are struggling against it. You have the option, if you wish, of spending willpower to roll some more dice. So you can, if you wish, suffer 1 what we call superficial level of willpower damage to reroll up to 3 vampire dice. So not your hunger dice, those can't be rerolled, but non-hunger dice can be rerolled if you wish to do so.
I only have 1 non-hunger dice that failed, so I don't think that's worth a willpower. We're all starting with 10 willpower, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, but I don't think it's worth it, unfortunately. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe I just need 1 to break that tie.
If you get 1 more success than it, you will do damage to it.
Okay, willpower spent.
Yes.
Hey, this is the way.
Burn it.
Everyone give this dice some luck. Send it like in the chat. And everyone infuse it with what you will. That's a 3. You didn't do well.
No luck. No luck.
Next time, infuse it with more luck.
So the way that you spent your willpower, it's called superficial damage, which means you just put 1 line through one of the boxes of your willpower. There's something called aggravated damage, where we put a 2nd line, so it's an X, but we're not there yet. Right now, we're just on the superficial.
Not yet.
Okay, very good. Not yet. That's right. Let's go to Irena, who is fighting against her own one. So go ahead and. Likewise, it's going to be strength plus brawl. Okay. And you get to add 3 dice to that because of your low generation and rousing the blood.
So I tried to meet you halfway. I did the pre-rolling. Thank you for explaining the rule about willpower, because I don't care what you get. I spent the willpower to boost these successes because they were trash. I am coming out with, I rolled 10d10, guys, and I'm still only coming out with 4 successes.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, hopefully he rolls low. He didn't. I don't think he did.
No, he did not. He actually they rolled 6 dice, and I got 3 7s here, and 8, and a couple of 10s, which I guess is a. Sorry, let me just make sure that it's it's a 00 on that one. So actually, it's quite a few successes.
Yep.
You smash this infected kindred against the wall. It has no effect. And instead, it responds by biting down into your shoulder. It's like all of its teeth have turned to fangs as you feel all of these needles enter into your flesh, and it begins to drink from you. And you know that, given your low generation, that this must be quite the meal for it. You are going to suffer some damage. Let me double check whether this is right. It is going to be aggravated damage.
Good times.
You're going to suffer 2 levels of aggravated damage. That means you've got your 10 health points. Put X's in 2 of the boxes.
Okay. The one thing Irania doesn't do is scream. That's something Margareta and Akif have never heard, and they're not going to hear it tonight. She doesn't scream as she slams this thing into the brick of this wall, and it launches onto her shoulders. There's just a slight moment of her own hubris and her own arrogance. It goes, ha, this is actually what I wanted anyways, which is for you to stay with me anyways. And she's actually just going to grab onto it, like just like wrapping around the shoulder, around her waist, and trying to keep it there. She'll know when she crosses a point of no return where this isn't viable, but if it's having the best meal of its life, it might as well enjoy its last meal.
Yeah.
Margareta is going to be here eventually.
I imagine, that we see a close-up of Elena and this thing almost like one of those sucker fish, that you see in aquariums, latched onto your shoulder, and we see its eyes, such as they are, kind of roll back in its skull at the taste that it is having of your vitae. Akif, you are rolling me some dodging. Okay. So could you go ahead and give me a dexterity plus athletics roll?
Yeah.
And before you roll, would you like to do a blood surge to get additional dice at the expense, at the risk of your hunger going up?
I do, because I'm setting something up here. And also for selfish reasons, I have no athletics, so that's going to be a lame ass roll. So
so go ahead and
talk me through the blood surge.
Yep, go ahead and do a rouse check first of all.
And that was how many dice? I'm sorry,
that's
just one.
Going to be just a single one, and you're looking for 6 or higher.
That's a 4. So thanks for nothing.
Yep. So your hunger level goes up by 1.
We're all starving.
So it also is at 3 now.
Mm-hmm.
You get the additional dice regardless. So that's the good news. Because of your generation, you're going to get 2 additional dice to roll.
Great. So I'm going to roll 5 in total. 3 of them are hunger dice. We're
looking good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've got 3 total successes. One of the hunger dice is a 1.
Okay.
But other than that, we have 110, just 110. So.
Okay, so you're just rocking with 1 success.
Oh, sorry, no, we have three total. There's
total
2 9s and a 10. Sorry.
Okay.
I think what's happening. I think I'm cross pollinating with another game where your 10s explode. And I think mentally, I'm trying to keep track of that. I'm going to stop doing
it. Is it by chance that the die that's a 10 is a hunger dice?
It is not, unfortunately. It is the 4th out of 5 dice.
Okay. You are going to dodge successfully.
Thank goodness.
As this ladder comes down, right where you were standing. Tell me what happens next, Akif. We're entering now the 3rd round of the struggle.
So it's funny that you called it a struggle, because this is where for everybody else combat might be kind of instinctive and even a little thrilling. This is hard. This is an existential hardness for Akif. As a detective, he was trained to draw his weapon and fire to kill when it became necessary to kill. As a gangrel, he is trained for you meet aggression with a proper level of aggression, and when it is time to kill, you take off all the brakes, all of them. All of them. He does not want to do that. He almost lost it 3 minutes ago in the other tunnel. He really wants to pull his gun and put this person down in the traditional way. It is really hard for him to make that call.
So, Akif, you realize that this part of you that desires to pull out your firearm and fire on Amelia, if that is in fact her name, that could have also...
That's true. Could be anybody.
Yeah.
Guess we'll find out when we kill her and look at her name tag.
It's good that you're talking about, your past as a detective, because you realize it's the human side of you, the human that you no longer are, because those bullets are just not going to do much to her. So almost if you were to do it, you would be consciously doing something that you knew would be less effective. Maybe that's a way of preserving your humanity. You don't fight with claws and fangs whenever. You prefer to first fight as a mortal does. But to the extent you're trying to be the most effective you can be in this struggle and taking off all the brakes, using a pistol will actually have the opposite effect.
If he can, he would like to take the suboptimal route.
Okay, absolutely.
He fled earlier. He's not feeling great about that. He feels like he's tilting out of control and doesn't want to do that, even if it means exposing himself to more danger.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a and we're going to move on from you, but you might as well roll dice while doing this. It's going to be your composure plus firearms, and you can once again blood surge if you want, but your hunger, of course, is already at 3, so you may not.
But I think given how hard this decision is,
okay,
I think it makes sense. I think I need the additional boost.
Okay, then let's quickly do the rouse check.
Yeah, sorry, I know there's a lot of rolling.
Yeah, that's okay. But
all right, rolling 1 for the rouse is a 3, so it's going up again. Sorry, guys, you always knew it was going to be me.
The level is 4.
We always knew it was going to be you.
You'll get an additional 2 dice on that. All right.
Okay.
Margareta, you are struggling back and forth with this creature. We're going to go to you while Akif is rolling, and then we'll circle back to him later. What are you doing, Margareta?
I was harboring secret hope that this was going to be easy, but it's proving not to be. And I assume that in my periphery, I can see that Irina has been hurt by the other one. Or I can hear it at least.
Yeah, you can hear the sucking sound.
And that's really upsetting. Of course, I have already blood surged, so I'm not sure how I can get this extra adrenaline from my rage to work in my favor. In fact, I'm pretty weak for a Bruja as they go.
Yeah.
So she's starting to feel that helplessness, and that's a real big fear of Margareta's, the kind of the inability to help those that need her, that lack of usefulness.
Do you
I think she would probably rouse. Is that what you want me to do? I'm just kidding.
I'm wondering whether you are in danger of frenzying between not getting the upper hand against this creature and seeing Irena in the plight she's in.
You know what? If you're wondering it, it's probably the case.
That's fair. What's your humanity, Margareta?
You know what, though? My humanity is 7.
7? Okay, so a third of that is going to be 2. So we roll your willpower plus a third of your humanity. So your willpower, I think, now is 9?
Yeah, because one of them has been...
Yep. So you get to roll a total of 11 dice.
Taking a lot of dice out of this custom-made Stars Are Right bag.
Hey!
Made by Beverly and Stitches, Targrad's wife.
Yes!
Go on live soon for purchase. Very excited.
Fancy.
And grabbing a lot of dice. Do I need 3 for my hunger level as well for this one?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh my god.
3 plus what's 8, 9, 11, 9, what? 8, 9, 10, 11. Maths. Correct. What is it? Okay. And we roll. That's a satisfying fistful of dice. Okay, we have 9, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9, 8.
What?
Wow.
That's 7 successes.
That's what you were looking for last round.
I know, it would have been so much more
Right.
Yeah. So that's 4 failures and Wait, did I roll too many dice?
You, if anything, enter a state of calm. You feel the beast rearing up, and in this moment you push it down because you realize perhaps this is when you need to think clearly. This requires intelligent action. You are the weaker in this struggle. Your allies are under attack. You need to do something to change the odds. What is it that you are going to try and do?
What is it that I'm going to try and do?
I can give you a moment because I can go to Irena.
Yes, please.
All right. So Irena, you've got your own struggle going on. Tell me, what's your next plan?
Because I'm not entirely sure how the aggravated damage works, do I think I could survive another round of it feeding on me?
Sure, you've got like 8 more boxes.
Oh, then we're cooking with grease, and everything in her power right now is going to be able to keep this thing on her. It's already feeding. It's having the best meal of its life. I know I taste delicious. I just want to make sure that it stays where it is.
Okay.
So a grapple, a hold, a pin, whatever it's going to take to make sure that this embrace stays locked.
I am going to ask you to give me I would like you to roll me stamina and composure.
Oh, this could be fun. Oh, she has a high composure too. Do you want the hunger dice associated with this as well?
Yes.
Okay. Everything's fine. We're good. Damn. I wish that could have been another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
You feel this creature begin to let go. Its needles pull out of you, and it begins to sink to the ground, curling up. And you think you see it smile. It's a terrible, warped look. But you think that it is just overcome by what it has drawn out of you. I will need you to make a rouse check because of the blood loss you have suffered. All right, your hunger level goes up to 5?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might be telling you what happens now.
Don't worry, honey. We're getting there. We're getting close.
The thing seems, if anything, intoxicated.
What can I say? I told you I'm delicious.
What is your next step, Irena?
Oh, can I kill it on the floor since it wants to be curled up and cute and like in Afterglow? Can I send it directly to Torpor? Is there anything I can do to like stake it, kill it right here?
Tell me how you would like to kill it, if that's your intent. There's a few different ways you could go about it, I think.
Tee me up one of your ideas and I'm going to counter it. Let's see where we go.
All right, I got 2 ideas for you.
Okay.
First one, you crouch down and in sort of a muddly fashion, you have it on your lap, like you're cradling it. You know, it sort of sinks down and you sink with it. And then you just take one of the loose brick stones that's in the wall. And, you know, as we're seeing you coo to it, you then slam it down repeatedly until there's not much head left.
That's sexy.
What kind of footwear does Irena have on?
Boots. Combat boots.
Okay.
She specified that. She's in a suit with boots.
Boot to the skull. I don't know. Also good.
Also good. I like that. There's something lawful, evil, delicious about the idea of her cradling it like a baby. Like, yeah. Oh, did you just get the best meal from mommy ever? And then going at its face or going at its chest. So I think that's what we're going to do. It's a great idea. And with COVID brain, I don't think I could trump that if my life depended on it.
That's really good.
That is really good.
As you collapse its skull with the stone that you heave repeatedly against it, there is a thought that comes to your mind, which is, it bit you. Does that mean whatever it had, you might now have? And is there a connection between the two of you that goes beyond simply the blood that it just sucked out of your veins?
Nervous systems are nervous systems, even if you don't really have a circulatory system. That thought comes across her mind. Like, have I just been infected? This thing bit me. Am I now a liability? But then there's a moment of calm that comes over her as the shard of brick just keeps plummeting down into this thing's head as its skull collapses and it begins to ooze out. And she has a moment of clarity and almost serenity because she was already infected. So no, that thought hit her. It did. But she already knew her time was up. There's a reason why she came in last in that tunnel. There's a reason why she didn't have a problem going into melee with this thing. It can't expedite her already incoming death. The best she can do now is serve her coterie.
And that is information that Margareta and Akif do not have.
That was my next
Nope.
question.
You do know
Yeah.
that Irena was just bitten, and so you might have the thought of, has she been infected? Little knowing, that's been the truth all along.
Gasp.
Margareta, we've come back to you.
Okay. I have a question that will kind of determine what I try and do, and it is, have I seen the other creature go all weird and intoxicated from Irena's blood, or have I not seen that yet?
Your choice. I'm happy for you to sort of be struggling back and forth with it while we see this going on behind you, and you can be aware of it or not. We can manipulate time in that way. Whatever works best for you dramatically.
Okay. This might be a really stupid idea, but we might go with it anyway. So these things want our blood.
Oh.
They seem to crave it. What if there's a way I can give it my blood without letting it touch me to distract it?
All
I
right.
am carrying a knife. So I'd like to try and either use one of those kind of stones to get some blood on the stone and pass it to it, or if I can, spray a little blood on its face.
Okay.
To disorient it with the deliciousness of my blood. Not a lot, hopefully. I don't want to starve, but just enough to get it disoriented and I can get that blow in.
This is one of the things I love about this system is the ability to combine attributes and skills in fairly novel ways. Here's the role I'm going to ask of you. I want manipulation.
Oh.
Yes.
And I want animal ken.
Oh, goodness. I don't have any of that. I'm rolling a total of 2 dice.
All right. Maybe it'll be 2 10s.
Roll well.
Roll well.
Well, I guess they're both blood dice because I'm hungry for 3.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And I don't want a blood surge because there's only so much hunger I can do. And that is, what is the animal ken for?
The and if there's another skill that you feel strongly about, I'm happy to entertain it, because these things are so animalistic at this point. You are essentially dealing with a wild animal.
Okay, so it's kind of two. It's part of the manipulation.
Yeah,
and
so
because it's an animal and not a human, empathy doesn't work because it doesn't have a
empathy is not going
psyche in the same way. I'd love to be able to argue something I have points in, but I don't, unless I can argue for something like subterfuge, like pretending to be doing something else and then at last minute do it, just to like kind of it, because it has that element of disorientation. But it's a bit of a reach, I understand.
Well, let me roll the dice to decide. Do you want high or
low? Low.
Low. I rolled a 7 on a 10-sided dice. I'm sorry, it's going to be
okay. Let's go.
Come on, baby.
With my 2 dice.
Listen, it's going to be a good story either way.
Going to be all zeros.
No, they're all 2s.
Yes.
So. I spray my blood somewhere else. Yeah, honestly.
So you successfully cut yourself, but what? Well, let me roll to make sure that it doesn't like get a critical failure or something. No, definitely not a critical failure. So you cut yourself, but you're not able to manage to sort of do the spraying or the stone. Rather, the thing has latched on to your wrist.
Oh, no.
And is suckling.
That did not go as planned.
No.
Akif.
Yes, sir.
How is your dodge going?
Oh, I was shooting.
Yes,
I was shooting. I paid handsomely for it in increased hunger, and have 4 successes with nary a 1 nor a 10 to be found.
All right, so 4 successes. The creature, the kindred known as Amelia, is not dodging. and you will get to add your pistol's damage to it, which I believe is 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a total of 8 damage. So if you imagined Emilia having a character sheet, this is not aggravated damage of the kind Irena suffered. It would just be superficial damage that she would be doing down. You will open up on her. You will empty the clip. And when you are done, she will look down, and you will see that although she's bleeding from a few places, she didn't rock back. She didn't collapse. Yeah. She tilts her head, her doll features taking you in, and it's almost like she's looking at you quizzically, like she's not understanding what you just chose to do. And she will begin to walk towards you.
Right. So, if it's my turn again,
yeah,
I needed to do that. I needed to demonstrate that I had a choice. I needed to demonstrate that there was no better option, and there is no better option. And in the gangrel world, when it is time to kill, you kill as hard, as fast as you can. I want this thing in front of me to be gobbets and gushing, and I want it now.
You can enter into a state of frenzy voluntarily if you wish.
That is where that was the path I was clearing for myself.
Ooh, I'm so glad I'm not in that hallway.
Had to give myself permission to let go and to hurt this thing as much as I can.
We're going to action's going to cut away from you. We just see the shadows, right? Because there was that flashlight that is just sort of conveniently wherever the camera needs it, sort of like rolling around. And so we see your shadow as you pounce upon Emilia and her porcelain doll-like face. But then the action cuts away. Irena, I will tell you, the combat is over. This system encourages us to resolve action within 3 rounds, which is what I stick with. And then we see where we are. So where we are is you've intimidated 3 of them, 1 has run away, 1 has been destroyed by you, and 1 is suckling on Margareta's wrist. And you can see, looking over, that strange look of pleasure and pain on both their faces that comes when kindred exchange vitae. Not that she is taking in any of its vitae right now. Irena, what do you wish to do?
And give me what my parameters are, because you're saying we're out of combat, so this is more like just narrative?
Yep.
So I think narrative-wise, her primary focus is getting this thing off of Margareta and destroying it.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to find some kind of sharp implement and just ram it through its back to send it into paralysis, staking it effectively. And once that's happened, yeah, it's messy. It takes a little bit of time, but just like with the other one, you can get that job done.
Okay, so a piece of stray rhubarb through the back where it's feeding on Margareta, it hits the ground. And because chat is so desperate for it, we're just going to unceremoniously, almost robotically, boot stomp it to death.
Okay. We are reminded of the opening of our story, of seeing those police officers, right, marching down the street in their riot armor. And we are reminded, as Irena is doing this, of her own background as a member of the East German secret police, the Stasi.
It all looks conditioned. It doesn't look like she's exerting a lot of effort. It doesn't particularly look like she's enjoying it either, but there's a conditioning of this type of killing that is very, very, very familiar to her.
Margareta, I need you to make a rouse roll, given that this thing was feeding on you.
That is a 4. Great.
Okay, so your hunger...
4.
Your hunger is 4. You're watching a lot of blood getting spilled here. Just saying, there's 2 perfectly good corpses here.
I wouldn't call them perfectly good. I don't know what made you say that. I mean,
I
they
mean,
are
if anything, like the
corpses.
main impediment, the head has been removed, so it's just like, you know,
The
Bag
cup
of
of coffee
blood.
with no lid.
yeah.
I think Margaret's hunger is coming out as rage because she was once again futilely fighting. She was rendered helpless. She lost. She never loses. That's not a thing that happens to her. And she knows that it's not helpful and it's probably making things worse. But she's going to start kicking the corpse as well just because she can. Just stomping it to the ground, like turn it into a pulp just to get her rage out.
I love the juxtaposition that we see of Irena's calmness as she does this, and what I presume is Margareda's fury as she does this.
Probably making a lot of noise as well with her like ah! Which is might not be good for us to make noise, but here we are making it.
Well, when you are finally done stomping this thing into its final death, and there is silence, or there should be silence, you still are hearing tearing coming from around the corner. Where when you go, this is the dead end that Emilio is leading you to, though there is a manhole cover. Akif, what do they and the camera see as they turn the corner?
It is pitch black in there. And so, who's it? Irina has the flashlight?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
When
she
the
picks up
flashlight
as she goes, and the camera follows.
Yeah. It is so the bricks are red in the sewer all over. These bricks are much more red. And you're like, that's odd, thinks the camera. Why would they have painted down here? And the flashlight keeps moving, and then the red picks up chunks and bits and hair and a chunk of bone, and this wall is plastered with everything that used to be part of Amelia and is now completely discorporated, except like half that bizarrely touching porcelain face is there, crackles, an artistic splash of blood, and it looks almost like a theater mask. And eventually in the middle you see Akif crouched, claws, his hair is like sticking up in the middle somehow. Mouth covered in just grossness that we don't need to relive because I've just grossed myself out. And it is it's not horrifying in the sense of, man, that's gross. I mean, it is, but it's horrifying in the sense of watching someone that you know and trust going through the most vulnerable, disgusting moment of their life. And it's really unsettling.
Evan, you described your mouth being covered in gore, Akif's mouth. Did Akif feed on Amelia?
I don't want to say like on purpose, but with all of the biting and tearing, I'm sure that some got swallowed.
Good news. You can recover. If you were doing it sort of coincidentally, then it'll be one level of hunger that drops.
Oh, great. Ooh, I'm sure there's no adverse side effects to that.
I'm sure everything's fine. We're good.
Yeah, we're all good.
So fine. Yeah. If you were purposefully drinking from her, it would be a full 2. But
no, I don't think he had the presence of mind to pause for that.
Understood. You're able to get the ladder, which is frankly not in that much worse a state than it was to begin with, back up against the wall, enough to reach the manhole cover, and you are able to, though you are in frankly distressed condition in your appearances, you are able to get outside and go through the manhole cover if you wish. You're able to peek, and so I'll describe to you what's awaiting for you out there, and then you can decide your next step. So there is an alley that the manhole cover leads to a small side street. Looks like it's closed off on one side by buildings, so it is a dead end, yet another dead end. But on the other side, the side that is open, you see a wide street. You'll immediately know what street this is. You've gotten quite disoriented, I would say, while you've been below, and probably a couple of hours passed of traveling through the sewers. You see the street is filled with people. Unlike the mob that we saw at the story's opening, this mob of people isn't a mob. It's just a group. It's a queue. It's a line of people slowly shuffling forwards. Many of them are have like books open that they're reading as they're walking. Some of them are on very early, cell phones. The street is filled and they are all shuffling towards something, but they're not getting there fast.
And we are pretty terrifying and covered in blood, or?
I would say, Margareta, in your case, you've got and you didn't suffer, I should say, you would have suffered one level of aggravated damage, Margareta.
Okay.
From when this thing sucked onto your wrist. But you can sort of bandage that or otherwise hide it away. Your boots are pretty bloody. That's probably the worst for you, Margareta.
Okay.
Irena,
We know.
The right side of your body is covered in blood. Your clothes look terrible. You look like you've been in a car accident, effectively. Akif, even worse. You look like you died in a car accident.
Yeah.
So that is your respective appearances. Margareta is the most composed, I suppose, in terms of her attire.
I think Margareta's gonna look at them and tell them to stand back, and she's going to take a few steps towards the queue.
Okay.
Hopefully her boots not standing out too much, and inquire about, so what's this about?
Yeah, the people ignore you, but your question is answered by just what you see, which is, and by the way, your boots very quickly pick up enough dirt that it doesn't look, unless someone is inspecting them, they probably wouldn't notice that's blood. But yeah, looking at the direction the queue is shuffling in, you see that they are on their way to a bridge. This bridge has a couple of checkpoints, police checkpoints. There's actually a small tower set up with police officers on it. They are armed, they have submachine guns, but they are not in full riot gear armor that you were expecting. These look more like the cops you would just see on the German street, or perhaps at an airport. So they are armed, they are trained, but they are also not here to break up a riot. They are manning a couple of checkpoints. It seems like one is like a preliminary checkpoint where they're waving people through pretty quickly. But then at the other end of the bridge, there is a more detailed checkpoint where they are... you think they're inspecting documents. You see people being patted down on that side. So imagine, right, a bridge, checkpoint on one side, checkpoint on the other side. The checkpoint that's closest to you, people are sort of being waved through. There's just a cursory inspection being given. But then the second checkpoint across the bridge is much more intensive. And this crowd of people that extends in both directions, is queuing up and slowly, snaking from 5 rows, columns of people to 4, to 3, to 2, to 1, going through these checkpoints. Everyone seems incredibly bored by this process, but it is orderly.
Okay, so they're just trying to basically get to the other side of town. There's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, they're trying to get to the other side of town, where now that you're looking around the area you're in, you're still in Friedrichshain, so you're still in the same general neighborhood you were in before. But across the bridge is where a number of functioning train stations are. So probably these people are either leaving the city or in the case of some of them, probably just going to work.
Mm.
For those that have night jobs.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Can we get a time check on the sky there?
You're okay on the sky. You're okay on the sky. You're okay on the big burning ball of death.
Oh yeah, something to worry about.
Yeah, we have to find shelter tonight. That has to be like preliminary issue number 1 because we're not sleeping in the sewers. We got to sleep somewhere up here.
How many hours would you say we have until sunlight?
It's around midnight at this
Oh,
point.
Okay, so we have 12
plenty of time.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say about 6 hours.
Well, we're not crossing that bridge. So where to?
Yeah, you're back in the sewer conversing, or perhaps you're in the alley. There's lots of things you can hide behind, so you can have a private conversation. You are out of sight when you are in this alley.
Building check on what do we have around us surrounding this alley? These restaurants, residential homes, abandoned warehouses.
Yeah, this area is no longer abandoned. Here you, in fact, have stores, some apartment buildings. It looks like a lot of the stores and restaurants are all closed. Partly that's the hour of the day, but partly also it's going to be the disturbances that have been racking the city.
We can't sleep in the sewers. We're going to have to find shelter somewhere topside. Obtaining shelter should be our primary concern.
Yeah. Keith just looks at one of the shuttered restaurants, and is there like a thing above it? Sometimes they have like apartments above them or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
he's not really he's kind of inward directed, but he says I would like a bath. I'd like to take a bath, please. If there's a moment.
Well, you have at least 2 choices right now with the checkpoints in one direction and going the direction that the crowd is coming from, which is deeper into the district that you were so close to getting out of.
Could we just go in here and I can use their sink or something? Can we just do that for like a minute?
There are no places like that in the immediate vicinity. You would need to probably go further down the street, the opposite direction that the queue is going.
Okay.
And I mean, you would be fairly noticed.
Okay. Then
Margareta, we need shelter, but we can't integrate ourselves in the society in this condition. The 2 of us need to bathe. The 2 of us need exchange of clothes. Our options are either to go back to the tunnels and work our way back to a different location, or you find us something here. I can't think of any other things. Or I can't think of any other options.
Margareta is quite streetwise. That's one of her skills. And she would like to try and see the telltale signs of a place either being used and occupied by homeless people or a place that looks like it's currently unoccupied. Perhaps there's the kind of the way the lights are on or off in a certain way, or I'm not as streetwise as Margareta, but like whatever signs.
Yeah. So you can engage in some scouting, if you will, some social scouting. I should say it is a little awkward to push your way through the crowd, when that many people are going in one direction. So you are skirting along the sides, but you are the fish swimming against the stream. So oh, go ahead.
Not necessarily. If we engage in a little bit of light daunt and people take a step backwards when they see me.
Fair enough. So it's not a problem for you to move through this crowd. People sort of on a subconscious level make a big circle around you. Like it's just some people you don't want to get too close to. You just you're not saying something bad would happen, but they exist, that possibility. And so you move just at your normal speed, right? And it would look bizarre if you had the camera up top, as we do, because we get to put the camera where we want. And it's just this bubble around you. But at street level, it just looks like people are being polite and moving around you. You don't have to go far. before you begin to recognize, Margareta, where you are. This is a neighborhood that you were familiar with previously, but also you know it to be a working level district, but one that is populated. So you were in sort of an abandoned part of town previously, but this is a part where you have college students living. You have folks working restaurant jobs. A lot of the people around you are sort of younger, in their teens and 20s. And as you go just a little distance, you will see that, in fact, there are lights on. There are some restaurants that are open. There is a bar. There are people that are no longer in the queue, but they're just sort of going about their business. Some of them are reading. Some of them are sitting outside a cafe. It's a rather bizarre scene, but it seems like, although politically here the people are likely aligned with the riots going on, the riots have not touched this part of town. So people leave here to go to the riots as opposed to the riots coming home to them. You are familiar with this neighborhood. You are also familiar that there are kindred in this area. This is a feeding ground. And it just so happens to be the feeding ground for one Beauregard Krüller, a name that may mean something to you. And if not, I am happy to share it with you. So you know that the circumstances under which your embrace occurred were unusual. It's not every day that a kindred is created seemingly by accident. But the one you believe to be responsible, the one you spoke with that night, with his Ray-Ban sunglasses and just the right level of stupidity to be attractive enough. Beauregard Krüller, a member of the kindred of this part of town, making their base of operations out of the bar that you are seeing called Das Ende.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
It means the end.
Okay, good.
Of course it does. What else would it mean?
Well, that's not ominous at all. So I thought Messiah was Stefan Rutger.
Yes, this was a communication you and I had separately, because we went ahead and changed that. But we don't have Discord open, so that we can't be interrupted. So that is information you may not be easily able to look up right now.
Okay, sorry, it's been a little while.
Absolutely. Hey, we're just grateful that we were able to play today and that Bridgett is feeling better.
Yeah.
And that folks have stuck
Okay.
with us after we had to reschedule. Yep.
We'll take it.
Exactly.
And now we know something about playing a game called Contagion and inviting all kinds of occult interests in our doings.
Oh my god.
But yeah, just replace
but Kohler isn't mentioned in what you sent me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So that is the. Go ahead.
Has the name changed? Is that the same person, or are we talking about a different person?
It is going to be the same person in that they are responsible for what happened, but otherwise, yeah, they are this individual.
Okay, so where I see Stefan replaced with
exactly.
Amazing. Okay, so this person is here or was here when I last knew of them.
And I mean, you're not even sure that he necessarily would remember you. It's not like the sire spent any time really teaching you.
No, they did not.
But you would have heard rumors following your embrace, your accidental embrace, that this is, where he and a cohort, his coterie of kindred, maintain their haven, and these are their feeding grounds. You've not been back here probably since that night.
And I've told everyone that my sire is dead. So that's what everyone knows about my sire.
That's right.
Okay. But in fact, might bump into them tonight. But am I desperate enough to actively seek them out? It does not seem like a good idea.
Good ideas are in short supply, or should I say good options?
Good options are on short supply.
Take the least bad idea.
That's right. The least bad option turns out to be a really good idea.
And you know what? I am sick of pretending that he's dead and not getting what I'm owed, which is help and support and love. And even though it was an accident, he still had to raise me. And he didn't. And I'm angry about it because it's not fair. Everyone else, all these happy vampire childhoods. And I got an absent father who just decided to go out for cigarettes and never came back.
Never came back.
And of course, I don't want to tell people this because it could literally kill me. But these two, well, they're my coterie, and if I was going to die with them, if they were going to betray me, they would have done it by now. And if I can trust anyone, it's them. And I'm angry, and I'm hungry, and I'm just sick of all of this. So she's been really itching to say this. She's had several moments up to now where she just almost did it, and then there's this little voice in her head told her, no, actually, this isn't a good idea. You shouldn't say anything. You can keep doing this. But you know what? It's been a rough day, and I probably have a weird vampire STD, and I'm just not happy, and we're probably all going to die. So to hell with it. There's riots in the streets. And she says, well, I think my sire is in that. They might be able to help me. And I haven't mentioned this before. She said she kind of has taken a step forward and she's talking to them from the safety of her back. They're behind her and she's kind of just leaning and looking back a bit. She has that kind of safety screen of not looking at them. And she says, I've been lying about it. He's alive, and I'd appreciate you didn't mention this because he never asked the prince to have me. I was a freaking accident. So if anyone finds out, they'll kill me. But he might be able to help.
Do you head to the club, Margareta?
And she heads to the club.
Okay. You were describing quite some fury, quite some feels just now. When you enter the club, do those feels come with you through the door, or are they getting pushed down?
She's very hungry. She's like very close to losing it. So I think she comes in like ready for a bar fight. She has just been daunting people around her. She has that energy to her. Everyone wants to take a step back. She's done. She's done with all of it. So I don't think she has anything to push down. At this point, pushing down looks like punching people. That's just her reeling it in and being really chill about it. So just stay out of my personal space. If I don't, she's hangry. She's hangry.
We see Margareta not quite stalking, but forcefully marching past the row of people that is waiting to go into the club, and the camera sort of follows with her. There is a bouncer, but with your abilities and what you're channeling now, you do the incredibly un-German thing of just going right through.
Un-German thing.
Because there's a line, Bridgett, and
I'm learning as we go, baby.
Yeah.
And that's rude. We don't do that.
You just go right through. We see Margarethe's back as she goes into the darkness of the club, and then the camera switches. So now we are at Margarethe's front, and we see her sort of encased in all of these neon lights that are flashing across her body as she enters what is a German goth nightclub. And the music is pounding. There are remixes of Joy Division playing right now, and the place is packed. People may be rioting somewhere, but in here, it's a party.
It's a quiet riot.
Quiet riot.
I imagine the music from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the video game that I've played twice.
Yep.
And they go like...
That's right. That's right. We have a slightly better budget, so we've got a lot more character models filling up this space, but yeah.
And she looks for him. Yeah,
you're familiar with this club. This is where that good or terrible evening, depending on how you think about it, when this creature known as Beauregard Krüller fed on you, and through whatever happenstance ended up sharing some of his blood, you think, to cause you to turn into the thing you are now. And it's not difficult to find him. He is in the VIP lounge, where he is indeed lounging, along with his accomplice, a woman who will shortly be introduced as Charisse Fontaine. Charisse, like Beauregard Krüller himself, is wearing Ray-Ban shades, because when you're as cool as they are, sun shines on you 24 hours a day.
Boo.
Boo. Especially for vampires, right?
I hate him.
But she is of mixed race. You don't know much about her, but she carries herself with a French flair. She has that flick of the wrist, that look of sophistication. Though from her skin color, at least, you're not sure if she was originally from France or perhaps one of the French colonies. But as soon as she speaks, she will have that accent that speaks of her French Caribbean heritage. Along with them are a few hangers-on that we don't need to dwell on. They are simply here for the fun and serve as encouragement. But the one person who does seem very much out of place appears to be a Vietnamese German who is sitting uncomfortably between these two. He has a ruffled suit on. It looks like he hasn't changed out of the suit in several days. His eyes are bloodshot. And he just looks like he's been awake a long time and clearly looks on edge. And placed between these two individuals, looks very nervous to be there and seems to be the only mortal in the room with you. Krüller says as you step into the VIP lounge, lowering his shades just a bit to look your way. You see he's got contacts in.
Remember me? She says, and she takes a step forward, trying to she puts on this fake smile, the angry smile. Like her eyes don't meet the smile, but she's like,
go ahead and roll me. I believe wits and alertness. I would also accept empathy here.
I would love empathy because I'm not very alert. So I have 4 hunger now. wits and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what happens. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay. Krilla immediately returns the glasses to cover his eyes and says, "Can't say I do, love." But as he says that, you see Charisse tilt her head in just that way that indicates to you he doesn't. She does.
Mm.
Do I know her?
You maybe have a vague recollection that she was in Krilla's company that night, but Krilla had turned his attentions away from her in favor of you that night that you turned.
I turn my gaze to her and I say, good to see you again. I see you remember me. Care to enlighten Daddy?
She whispers in Krilla's ear. His mouth kind of gapes open. And then he begins to laugh, hyena-like. And he turns to the mortal that's between them and says, "Nowen, Nowen, my man, you will not believe this. This is my kid." Isn't she a looker? And Nowen, the mortal's name presumably, just like shakes his head, then nods his head as though just not sure which answer is going to appease, and so just does both of them in the hopes
Just
that
vibrates.
yeah, exactly. Charisse stands up and says, "You are welcome here, child."
We need somewhere to stay and we need some food. When that's all done, we can go back to leaving each other alone and pretend we don't exist.
Don't be like that, she says, putting a hand on your shoulder.
Oh, no, she will just slide away from my hand very casually, like,
He sees
no.
it, and then sort of does an artful wave, like she had intended to do that all along, gesturing towards Nguyen. "Food is plentiful. Tell us what else you need. We'll make sure to make you feel at home."
And with my 4 empathy successes, do I get any iffy vibes from how helpful she's being? Because
yeah, there's definite iffiness. You're not thinking that like she is going to smack you over the head, and like
no.
she's not intending immediate violence to you or anything, but
The long game.
these are dangerous folks you're getting. They're the kinds of people who play with their food, and you don't want to be their food.
Well, we need food for now, and as soon as we miss the sunlight and get some hunger down, then we can leave them and not have to deal with them again, is what she's thinking. Is this poor one person the only feeding bag in the entire club? Is he just being passed around everyone? And how close does he look to dying?
He actually seems right now he does not seem like you would not find any marks on him.
So they haven't eaten from him yet. Ooh. I'll say, is she offering him to us?
Yes.
I don't know if this is being overly suspicious, but I think Margareta will say, "Please, after you."
Charisse smiles at you with her fanged mouth, removes her Ray-Ban sunglasses, and approaches Nguyen and just takes him into a deep kiss. He freezes up, like as though he's never kissed anyone before, and then she will slowly trail her mouth along the nape of his neck, and you hear that sound almost like a snake biting into something. And he freezes up even further, right? He sort of convulses briefly. His eyes go wide and he's just looking up. Doesn't seem to be conscious of what's happening right now. And after a couple of draughts, Charisse rises, removes a handkerchief from her person, dabs her lips, and returns to smiling at you.
Margareta nods in thanks and then gently passes Nguyen to Akif, who she doesn't know how hungry he is, but he was in a bit of a state earlier, so she feels like he might need it.
Okay. So
wait,
right
just
now,
as a quick point of clarification, we're not there, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Are you not? I thought you were following me.
We're covered in blood, so we can't go out into the street.
But what you can do here in the club, I know Margareta's just like, wait, I'm all by myself.
That's why we haven't been interacting.
You've been going solo.
I thought you were following me this whole time.
No, we
I love your
can't.
confidence. It's great.
Again. I love the idea, though, that you were so mentally focused, that Margareta was just like, this is what's happening, and
They're following me, right?
Wait, where is...
They were behind me at the club, though. When
No, I've got like grizzle in my beard. It's bad.
They were behind me outside the club when I made
in the alley.
No,
What did I tell about my side? Was it speaking in the air?
That was just as you were
leaving the alley. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I have to get them and bring them back.
Yep. You fortunately here, they can provide you clothes.
Okay, that's what I need. Some big covery clothes to bring my friends. Okay, yeah, I thought I had backup this whole time.
Spiritually, physically.
You've been flying the solo,
But your anger was so loud and so vibrant that you weren't even aware that you were alone, and that's hot.
You were with me in spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, so she'll ask. She will drink a bit of blood just to be ready.
Okay, yeah. If you drink from the wen, you can get back 1 hunger. So your hunger is reduced by 1.
1. Oh, come on, Nguyen.
Come on, Nguyen. Come on, do better than this.
Do better.
If you would like, this is assuming you were describing it as just feeding from him a bit. If you want to feed from him to the maximum extent possible without endangering his life, then you would get back an additional 1.
But it would take longer.
It will take longer.
Okay,
if you want to drain him dry, then you get back a 3rd 1.
I have too much humanity for that kind of shenanigans. So I'll just ask for some clothes, and as soon as they hand them over, I return straight back.
Yeah, so Krilla will point at a couple of the hangers-on in here, and he will just say, slip. And they will at first think he's joking, and then he will lower his sunglasses and repeat his instruction, strip. And at that point, the hangers-on that he's pointed to begin to undress fully.
I don't need underwear. I don't need the underwear.
Krilla looks at you, clearly disappointed. Keep the undies, he says. And the individuals who are unclothing do. Still sort of like, these people probably wouldn't be bashful in ordinary circumstances, but this situation, they are blushing, they are embarrassed, they are clearly feeling incredibly uncomfortable. But Charisse collects the clothes and hands you a stack of them.
Okay. And she will waste no time going back as fast as she can. She's quite fast because she has celerity, although she's not gonna zoom.
See you soon, Krilla yelps behind you.
She ignores him. And then, she instantly goes back, gives them the clothes, and then ideally leads them back.
Okay. Yeah. So Irena, Akif, welcome back to the action. You
Hooray!
clothes. They may not fit that terrifically. They may be more appropriate for clubs. Irena, you in particular may be struggling a little bit, but maybe not. Describe to me how you're looking as the three of you exit the alley now and head towards the club Das Ende.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, because I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
He's got like the like the movie like Night at the Roxbury. So he's got like the like douchebag polyester club shirt on.
Yes.
That's like open, and like the chest hair is poking out. He with the old clothes, he tried to scrape off as much of the bits and blood as he could, but it's not a great job. So the sleeves are down all the way. His beard is kind of matted and gross, but in the dark it's probably okay. But the shirt is like, I mean, he's not a built guy, he's kind of gaunt and spindly, but the shirt is stretched in weird ways because it's too short for him and he's trying to cover up. I mean, he was doused in blood, so it's a challenge. He's kind of run his hands through his hair a little bit. So he looks like a dude that has not worn club clothes ever in his life. It just had never occurred to him to go out and like dress like someone looking to dance. He's gone to plenty of clubs, gone to plenty of bars, but he usually wears, a neat shirt, sometimes a tie. And he's almost it's almost like like I mentioned a scarecrow before, where he's just kind of like got this hunch going on because he does not know how to stand in this stupid fucking shirt. But he says thank you to Margareta anyway.
Irena, what do you look like?
So Irena is absolutely amazing that a 70-year-old woman still looks handsome in a 20-year-old's club clothes. Because she maintained the boots. She's still in the black combat boots. Whatever stretchy leggings. They're about a size too small, but this is a very handsome, very shapely woman. The top, she's like, I'm not doing this. And it's not even a point of like vanity as much as it's like, no, I'm not doing this top. So she's going to wind up stripping. It's one of those double layered tops. The front is frilly and it is thin fabric. It has a bunch of colors and some weird, we're not doing that. So she's going to strip the interior covering, almost like, you get the inside of a slip off of the inside of this top. So what she's wearing is the inside of a shirt that's, supposed to stop you from seeing too much in the right areas. She's more or less in a tank top, some leggings that look pretty good on her, and combat boots. And she's going to do everything she can with the clothes that she's going to need to remove to just douse them probably in whatever water is in these sewers. And she doesn't want to think about that too much because this isn't very clean water, but it's enough to get the blood off of the super visible places of her. So it's like that dark red that has started to dry due to the state of time is getting rehydrated and she's able to wipe it off. So on top of all of the other bullshit she has on, it looks like she may have either fucked up her makeup or she intentionally has some pink something going on with her. But somehow, when she turns that corner, she owns this neighborhood. This neighborhood was actually erected for her. This outfit was built specifically for her. She belongs here, and everyone around her can feel that, even though she looks completely out of her normal character.
It's amazing what a change of clothes can accomplish, right?
Wait until we get a shower. Then she'll really be on top of the world.
You are still going against the queue that has thinned somewhat, at this point. There's less of a crowd, but still enough that under other circumstances you would feel like a fish swimming against the stream. There is one part of the stream that is moving much quicker and possibly finds its way to you, in part because you have this bubble around you through the combination of Margareta and Irena. It is a man with an overcoat. He looks lean, sinewy, blue eyes, faint 5 o'clock shadow, of Celtic heritage, and he is stumbling through the crowd. He is pushing his way through the queue, seemingly trying to reach the police checkpoint. You hear shouts, angry shouts, including from a woman of a group chasing him. They all have leather jackets. Their hair is cropped incredibly short, almost to the point of baldness. They all have combat boots that you are sure must be steel-toed, and they are chasing this individual down, and he essentially crumples in front of you as he kind of, is pushing his way through the crowd until there's no crowd to push through because people have divided away from you. And so he stumbles and falls to the ground in front of you, almost almost bowing to you, right? He's on the ground, on his knees, on his hands, looks up and quickly looks back at the group of skinheads that is chasing him.
Time to jump in action, right?
Sorry, all of you notice that as exasperated as he seems, he is not gasping for breath.
Mm.
The action is yours.
How many are in pursuit?
There's a total of 5 of them. They are being led by an angry-looking woman, probably in her early 20s, and the rest are a combination of there's an oversized individual, sort of almost 7 feet tall. There's a few lanky hangers-on, but they look more like kids, probably in their late teens, maybe very early 20s. So total of 5.
Talk about that shit you don't need right now.
Mm.
Can we tell whether they're kindred, kind, or other?
They appear to be mortal.
Okay.
Time to spook them. Spook them away.
So Raina is going to wind up just reaching down and pulling this person to their feet. There's a time and a place to bow to me. It's not now. So she's going to pick this individual up and just do the dumbass hand on the head spin this person directly behind her.
Okay. And then Margareta, you are doing your power to make these people go away?
I guess I haven't really stopped doing it. That is my natural state.
Yeah, right. It extends for one scene. So let's see how well you do your daunt. So it's free. So all we're looking for is for you to roll your presence and intimidation.
Okay. So she particularly hates these people. So it's personal as well. I'm pretty sure. I mean, skinheads do not have good associations in my book, especially when it comes to not beating up people who don't deserve it. So let's do it.
And I think I was messing up the check earlier because I'm pretty sure you should be rolling manipulation plus intimidation plus your level of presence.
Okay, that's even better.
Yeah.
So manipulation is 2. Intimidation is 2. Presence is 2. See what happens. That is a full success run. So that's 6 successes.
Beautiful. They stop in their tracks. Margareta, you are staring them down. Akif, you are right behind her. And Irina is behind all of you, having spun this individual around and interspersing the 3 of you between him and them. They stop. The lead of them, the presumed leader, she looks at you with undisguised hatred. You can tell that she wants to move forwards, and she takes a couple of steps. You wonder whether she's being aided or propelled by something else, whether she might be something beyond just mortal, whether she could be in the service of a kindred, perhaps. But with your successes, she will then stop, and as soon as she stops, the rest of her group of skinheads don't dare to do anything further. But what she will do is, rather than go after you, She will spit on the ground, which is the only way that she can get closer to you. And then she will remove from her leather jacket something that looks military grade. You hear her pull a pin.
Wow.
And she throws the device, not at you, not at your group, but just further away into the crowd that is queuing to go through the checkpoint.
Okay.
I will give folks reactions, not Margareta, because she is staring these folks down, but Akif, you are the one most able to act.
Sure. Akif is angry at himself, angry at the world, hungry, could really use a drink, and frankly, the grenade is those people's problems. Now it's too far away. So he's going to, tell me if this is too much to do at what time, he is going to take the necessary steps forward, wrap this person up in an uncomfortably tight hug, and just kind of growl in her ear, and not in a sexy way. I am so dying for a drink.
Ooh, but it was sexy.
I cannot be responsible for what happens
But
now.
it was sexy.
Are you going to act on that threat?
Not yet, because he wants to know. Nah, see, now he fucked it up, because he wants to know what. You know what? Yes, he wants to know what she's up to, but too fucking bad. Sorry, I'm cursing a lot because.
Fuck.
Because fuck.
Yeah, and he is gonna just right there in front of everybody. He did it. This is his kill, his catch. Maybe not a kill, but this is his catch.
Might be his kill.
And he's gonna enjoy a bite. To hell with it.
Irena, you especially see Akif just go for her throat after taking her in this tight embrace. You see the look of bliss that goes across her face, like this is exactly what she wanted, as Akif begins feeding. And as we sort of see the camera from your point of view, just over your shoulder, right, we see Akif doing this to this skinhead woman. We hear the explosion behind you and screams from the queue of people who were forming an orderly line a moment ago, but they are not orderly anymore. Turning around, you don't see the blood that you were expecting from a grenade filled with shrapnel to have caused. It sounded like an explosion, though, and the people are responding accordingly, and there is smoke, and the police are reacting themselves. And what wasn't a riot 5 minutes ago has turned into one within 5 seconds.
This is a very easy decision in a particular situation like this. I mean, I can't even say this is the very first time I've been in this exact situation. Different people, different players, but instigating a riot, causing panic, exerting chaos. This is Distract 101. She's done this. I've done this. So lay dumbass behind me. She is going to look at Akif while he's feeding for a fraction of a second. It's like, oh, that's what we're doing. We're doing just masquerade breaches. And you're so lucky a grenade just went off. You might be able to get this one off, but you and I are going to have a conversation about it later. She is going to spin lay dumbass behind, and she is going to very intentionally cut the shortest distance between her and a building, either with an edge or a window, because she knows that once this goes, it is going to be a stampede of panic and chaos, and there's going to be blood, and the police are going to get overexcited because they're undertrained and they're on edge, and all of this is going to go to hell very quickly. So where you don't want to be is in the middle of that bullshit. So Lay Dumbass and I are going to get to the edge of a building where we can put our shoulders to it, where traffic is going either way. but preferably through any window. And she is more than happy to lift Lay Dumbass through this said window so they can get on the other side of it while all of this chaos is getting ready to explode. I'll be really excited to learn Lay Dumbass's name.
We see Irena in a military-style uniform. The camera has cut away to something that looks like a very Spartan classroom. She is instructing members of the Stasi on what happens in a riot. And as we just heard Bridgett listing off these different elements of people becoming stupid, the camera cuts back to show happening on the street where you all are exactly what she's saying. Just piece by piece, and we cut back to her giving these instructions in the classroom, back to the present, the street, where the crowd, in fact, has started to cause a stampede. As she explains what happens with the police officers, we hear guns go off as the police reacts to try and fail to respond correctly to try and defuse the situation, and makes it only worse. A not insubstantial amount of time passes while you are hiding, all of you, in the alley, waiting for the chaos to finally cease. When it does, the man who's been sheltering with you will sort of peek around to see.
Sorry, I have just a quick. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What did I just like? Kind of take a sip of Lady Skinhead, and then she wriggled away, or
I was going to get to.
Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't know if we were like all standing calmly in
okay.
the alley with. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
How much do you want?
How much food do I want?
Yeah.
How much of her do you want?
Yeah. You got 1 for a taste, 2 to bring her to the edge of health, and then 3 to just drain her dry.
I'm gonna say 1 because we are having some serious internal conversations about self-control and public behavior. So this is like radiating self-loathing. This is so gross. I hate it.
When you release her, she doesn't crumple. I mean, she stumbles back a little bit, but she looks very happy, and she's sort of holding her neck. I guess it's a smile that she sends your way, and says something to the effect of, "Be seeing you again." And then she runs off with, the rest of her party has already abandoned her, has already run off, but she seems to be made of different ugly.
And he mutters to himself as he turns back to his friends, "You'll have to excuse me. I've had a difficult day."
We're not excusing any of that behavior. We're going to address it.
All right.
The man
You're in trouble.
You saved.
Mom is mad.
Like, oh.
This man will look at you, Akif, and say, "I will remember that." And then he turns to Irena and says, "And I will also remember what you did for me. Thank you all." And then he seems to be planning to take his leave.
Wait, what was that? What were they?
"Those troublemakers," he says. "Well, you dealt with them appropriately." "Well, you dealt with them," he says, looking at Akif.
Why were they chasing you?
"They were looking to keep me from a very important meeting with the prince."
Which prince?
"The only prince that matters," he says.
Then name him.
Says Prince Wilhelm.
West.
Prince of the West.
What's the meeting about?
Not at liberty to disclose that. I am sorry.
What is your name?
My name, he says, is... Sorry, I've only got his last name. super handy. Or vain, he says.
And your clan, Orvain, and Margareta and Akif already know this. She's clocking right back into her normal. That didn't take long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your clan, Orvain?
Orvain, he says. Orvain Evans of the Tremere.
Oh no.
Oh, fuck. Fucking Tremere.
Isn't Justica a Tremere?
There is, yes.
But it's a different person.
You think. He will give you a curt nod, Irena, and begin to walk off.
She's gonna step in front of him, just the very icy, almost window slide, and she is going to look at Akif, and she's going to look at Margareta, because this isn't her prince. But we just saved somebody that's having a meeting, and at least he knows where leadership is. Where the fuck has the Camarilla been through all of this? We're scattered all over Berlin right now with no organization, no structure, no communication, no comms, no directives. This might not be my prince. Fuck this entire hierarchy that the Camarilla has anyways. That's something that Irena has been constantly griping about, despite being a Ventru and believing that she's at the top of the hierarchy. She's not perfect. But there's a moment, it's like, he has access to leadership, and he owes us. So she just window slides in front of him. You'll give me just a brief moment, Mr. Evans. And she's going to look at Margareta and Akif. Do we let this golden ticket walk off?
Keith looks at Margareta, hoping that she'll do her intimidating thingy or something else that she does.
She's always intimidating, but she's also wondering, is angering the prince himself a literal death sentence? But yeah, the party wants to keep this guy here, so we're keeping this guy here. And she will also block his way, being as intimidating as she can, as always. And say, we helped you, so how can you help us?
Believe me, that if I am permitted to make this meeting, it shall be of great benefit, not just to the prince, but to all the kindred in this city.
Do we believe him, though?
You can go ahead and you can go ahead and give me a roll. We are going to be looking for. It's going to be some combination of subterfuge.
Okay.
I would accept subterfuge. I would accept empathy.
Okay.
To try and figure out if he's lying. And then in terms of an attribute, I think it's got to be either manipulation or wits. I will accept either of those.
Fair.
Boy, this is right on this character's alley.
Ooh. Okay. I got 3 successes and a 10 on a 100 die.
Okay.
Oh, I got 3 10s.
Whoa!
Ooh.
3 10s plus 2 other successes and a 1.
Were any of the 10s hunger dice?
One of them was a hunger die.
All 3 of us got 10s on hunger die.
It's been a hard night.
It's been a rough night, honey.
So this, what started off as a somewhat innocent conversation and rescuing this guy, the 3 of you now, without even realizing it, you've started to circle him. Your sense, because you did succeed, is, he seems to be genuine in this. You're not sure exactly what he has in mind, but his statement does not disclose any lies. The problem is that in focusing and trying to understand him, you are now seeing the power imbalance between the three of you and him at the center. And you're going to need to make a decision whether he is going to become your next meal or whether you're going to try and get yourselves under control and do whatever it is that you wish to do. But asking him additional questions, that's sort of going to be choosing the first option.
Oh, interesting.
That ship has sailed. Okay.
Okay.
When all three of the coterie members, what is this, bestial failure? No, this is a pretty, what is this called?
This is a
Messy success.
A messy, when all three coterie members get a messy success on the save skill. All right.
Oh. I guess we do this little telepathy thing we do between us where we all stare at each other and be like, going in or out?
And Keith does one of his superfluous breaths again.
And we pick up that actually this is us attempting to take a step back and not make things worse.
Okay, so you're going to try and move away from him?
Yes.
I think Keith just stops circling.
Yeah.
He just stays where he is. Stops being a creeper for half a second.
I love the idea that all three of us are encircling him, and that circle is getting more and more narrow as we're all looking at each other, and at some point there's just this uniformity, this click, and then all of us stop exactly where we are.
I love it.
We rehearse these things. This is a choreography.
He will say, get yourselves under control.
Oh, fuck it, I bite him. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I'm not. Ah! She was going so well.
Oh no.
We're okay. We're okay. We're I'm gonna roll something. This is frenzy territory first. She's been doing really well. She's been doing so well, but really you are not gonna antagonize. Get control of yourselves? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Don't antagonize
to
me.
Ventrue, come on.
Come on now. This one? No. What do you want me to roll?
Okay. So if you are resisting this frenzy attempt, it's going to be your willpower plus 1/3 of your humanity.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm down willpower right now too. Okay. Two 9s and 2 6s. 4.
Total of 4.
Yeah, 4 successes.
You can act other than to go after him. You successfully resist.
She flinches. I mean, it's in every ounce of her body. Everyone can see it. Her muscles tense. Her fangs probably pop. She takes that step in right before she has to eat his goddamn words that triggered her in the first place. Get yourselves together. You owe the three of us for saving your life. Let's see what your prince will pay for a successful escort to this meeting.
Oh.
Ooh.
He will cock his head and then say, this way, after you.
She's going to throw up her chin and do what she can to get her fangs back in because she is starving and she is sick and she's turning that corner where human blood just hasn't been tasting good lately anyways. And he's right here. And he's got an attitude and doesn't know his place. This is a 7th course meal right in front of her. It hurts.
You start as a group heading down the road. And it's not long before you are approaching what was the police checkpoint. There's a much stronger police presence now. He seems to curtly nod at a number of the police officers. He's just approaching them with you. They look at each other, but they're not like moving to stop you or anything like that. But it's right when you are about to start crossing the bridge, that's the way he's leading, that you realize there's a police presence both ahead of you and behind you. And suddenly his head has a bag over it that's been pulled down. by one of the armored police officers. And another of the police officers, so the rest of the police officers, Margareta and Akif, they're going for you. You see it sort of try and grab your arms to restrain you. And the police officer who was in the lead, about to sort of let you across the bridge, looks at you, Irena, and says, "Ma'am, the prince would like to see you."
There's a hard pause as she's staring at this individual. We welcome the prince's invitation. We welcome the prince's invitation.
And that's where we're going to stop it.
Ooh. And that, friends of the symphony, is where our show ends for the night. Whew, duh. Oh, so my adrenaline is running so high right now. Thank you to everyone who joined in or is currently watching the replay. You guys are indeed the best part of waking up. I am going to very briefly do this giveaway, maybe successfully. We have struggled here, but we might be able to get this going. All right, let's see. This is going to be for the Creatures Such As We for Vampire the Masquerade. That was written and produced by Chaosium's marketing director, Brian Holland, and Alan Carey of Type 40. So let's see. Right. Like, yay. All right. View active giveaway. We've already done that. 5 tickets. Winners. Pick a winner. Hey!
Oh, wow. I didn't know I was allowed to enter.
Phaedra, congratulations on winning Creatures Such As We.
I saw you press it, Bridgett, and I thought we're all allowed to.
You are. Listen, honey. Okay. You allowed to win too.
For Vampire, like you've been playing the long game the whole time.
Oh God, join Marguerite in Texas next week.
Get in there?
Oh no, I don't know.
Oh, congratulations, babe. Shoot me your email address associated with DriveThruRPG and I'll get that source book over to you. The cast and crew are going to take a brief break and then we're going to come back for our post-symphony gala. Check out the cast and crew's impressions on the episode, possibly meet their awesome pets, get to know them, or figure out how in the world or what in the world we are going to do next. To get access to this content, you do need to be a backer, so you can back us at patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. If you'd like to hang out with us on Discord, there's a link in the chat and on our website at symphonyentertainment.com. Before we empty out the auditorium, let's go around one more time and say goodnight to our symphonic cast. But don't worry, we will be back a week from today. That will be whatever a week from today is on Saturday at noon, same time, for the conclusion of Contagion. So, starting off with our storyteller, Heinrich. Hit us with your pluggables, hit us with who you are, hit us with you.
I am Heinrich Moore. I am principally an actor in the Call of Cthulhu RPG space, but moonlighting for Vampire the Masquerade. I'm a community organizer. I want to help you complete your next community project. In the Call of Cthulhu line, the Miskatonic Repository is where you should be to make that happen. We've got a convention coming up. More information is going to be on the Discord. And it has just been a tremendous pleasure. You can find me on YouTube under Heinrich Moore Presents. You can find us in our Discord, the MRCon Discord. You can find us in Symphony, the Symphony Discord. You can find us in the Miskatonic Creators Circle on Facebook. We are everywhere. We may or may not be stalking you, but we would love to help you with your next project.
Thank you. An amazing storytelling, Heinrich. This was riveting. But we're going to talk about that in the talk back. Evan, hit us, baby. Yo. Hit us with your pluggables, who you are, where we can find you, all that good stuff.
I am Evan Perlman. I am a scenario writer and community project organizer for the Miskatonic Repository. You can find me on the Discords for Symphony. You can find me on the Miskatonic Repository Con Discord. Probably a couple others that I'm forgetting. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on, the hell is it, Blue Sky now, which is so much more pleasant than Twitter because there's nobody there. And you can find me by approaching the police checkpoint separating East and West Berlin, where my agents will throw a bag over your head and invite you in.
And to the newest member of Symphony Streams and the winner of Creatures Such As Z, Phaedra, hit us, baby. Tell us who you are, where people can find you, all the things that you do. Hit us.
I am Phaedra of the Stazarite.
Nice.
That a bit too low to be seen throughout. You can find me on Stazarite Discord, on almost all the other Discord servers. And you can see my podcast where I'm the main keeper, and all the other recordings of my scenarios and other amazing scenarios from the Miskatonic repository on stazarite.com. You can find my scenarios, Good Vibes Only, in the Coterie of Greed, as well as more coming soon on the Miskatonic repository. And I can help you edit your scenarios. You can find more on the publishing side of stazarite.com. And also we have merch, not just this bag that's coming soon, other stuff like the t-shirt I'm wearing. You can also find that on the website. And you can find me on almost all the social media, but I haven't made it to Blue Sky yet.
Soon. That the gerbil or the hamster behind the Coke bottle gift soon. Coterie, I will see you guys in a week, and actually after our break I'm going to see you for the talk back. We hope you all have had a wonderful night. Thank you for enjoying the symphony. That line was backwards. I am so tired, but we made it and I am delighted. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye guys.
Bye.